We are live here tonight on American Zombie, hanging out with Jake, Truth Snake. We got the link pinned to the top of the chat. Like, say what's up to everyone. The topic: what is the real purpose of rap? So yeah, this is a stream that might summon Scribe or a couple other people that might have an opinion on what the purpose is. Jake.
Is the purpose to sell Tupac bed sheets? Because I think they got scribed.
Oh man. Yeah, it's crazy when I just think about that. The fact that they would have bed sheets for rappers. I think Eminem has them too. And it's just, to me, I don't see chicks buying those bed sheets. I just don't. It just
I
doesn't
don't
make
think so either, man.
yeah, it just doesn't. There's
I,
so
I
much
think
other.
if he opened up his church of Tupac, there wouldn't be very many female followers either.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the whole thing, and music on the whole is like a form of mind control. But rap, studies, I had looked up some stuff. Studies suggest potential links between the negative outcomes like increased aggression, substance abuse, risky sexual behavior, and materialism. uh, they say the findings are complex, but um, they do see there's some type of link, that there is, when we see, and anybody can see this without a study, that like on the thumbnail when I put Takashi with the golden or the platinum with the diamonds on his shark pendant, Riff Raff with the grill with the diamonds in it. So like it says here, materialism, a lot of the whole, oh, we have to be flashy, we have to be, you can't be yourself. You can't be yourself. So that's the first thing. And then once you get past that, then it's the attitude. So the costume is there, and we see the costume changes. It went from Run DMC, when they were like, Lee's on my legs, sneakers on my feet, D by my side, and Jay with the beat, trying to, thing, Mr. X, good to see you, brother. Let's go. You know it, man. Yeah, this is the rap agenda, I think it is, because there was a Jamaican guy saying a long time ago that rap is a government created thing, used to kind of destroy people. And that was where Scribe and I had a we saw it differently. And I think it was because he grew up listening, seeing, like, he was in a frame of mind that was very susceptible to the programming of the machine, the albums, and then putting Tupac on the cross as if, I think that album is called Resurrection or something, and then with Scribe coming from a family that's religious. And then I see some of the stuff he has said, and I'm like, yeah, this is a programming that they want this guy to be like the messiah of rap. And we had spoke about it on the previous show, that Wavy had, was kind of a Tupacian, or whatever we want to call, classify a follower of Tupac as. I just
Tupac
call it
zombie.
Yeah, Tupac zombie, a Tupacian, or who knows. But yeah, it just I think about that, like the purpose of it that I see, because a lot of people, Tupac seems to be one of the main characters, definitely after NWA, constantly using the N-word. And I tried to explain to somebody, I even spoke to Scribe about it. I said, listen, your parents are well-mannered people. Now, imagine sitting at a restaurant and you're eating, and 2 tables over, there's maybe 4 black people eating, and they're constantly calling each other the N-word. I said, you know, every time they say it, your father's going to cringe, your mother, it's like, it's so disrespectful to hear people calling each other that. Um, it's almost as disrespectful as somebody calling them that as a racial slur. And the one way I get to put it to people is if you heard women calling themselves that, like the march they had, the Sloot march, you know, for the or the LUT, you know, the SL march for the women, you know, who wanted to. I think Lauren Southern had led that, or she was in it, and there was a lot of women that marched on that. And it's sort of like if women are out there calling themselves uts and the H word and the B word, people are going to look at them as that. So what I try to talk to Scribe and other people about the N word thing, I said, that's the way people are going to look at you. I said, you can say all of this stuff about, oh, it's a term of endearment. It's all BS. I said, the, um, the whole thing with women, if women were calling themselves B's and H's, I said, no matter what, if they told us, well, it's a term of endearment between us, we'd know it was bullcrap. It's like, listen, we know why you're calling each other that. You have no self-respect. And this is the battle of it. And there's a battle too of Puerto Rican rappers or Latin rappers using the N-word. But yeah, it's really, it's degrading. Mr. X, what's up, bro? Anything on your mind, man?
No, no, interesting topic you getting covered here. I know you're gonna be able to cover it really well. You know, being from New York, you grew up around it, so you're far more familiar than most. And what I'm really looking forward to is you have that analytical ability that most don't, but you lived it, so you can really analyze it much better than most about what it's promoting and the effects it has on society, the youth. You know, because they're
Hmm.
very impressionable. The young
Oh,
mind is
man.
very impressionable.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely. Gee,
and that's what you kind of mentioned. What I wanted to talk about. I think one of the reasons, one of the purposes of rap music is celebrity worship, and we can see with Tupac, and they even put him like on a cross on his album cover or whatever, and it just people worship these celebrities, and basically, I do think that government, if they didn't create it, they promote it or allow it to happen because they know that they can influence society in certain ways. If these celebrities do certain things, call each other certain words, act a certain way, then everyone else will follow like sheep. And then before you know it, you got a lot of people living that thug life, like Tupac was preaching. And then
mhm.
you got people calling themselves, derogatory terms and thinking less of themselves because of that. And then you have some, instead of people looking at what the real problem is, people think that, do you think, like, why would a poor black guy hit a poor white guy? Like, don't you understand that the 1% of the elites, the 1% or less, that's the problem, the common people versus the 1%? There's no middle class anymore. Like, I think it was in 1912 or something like that, the average CEO made 4 times more than the average common worker. Now, the CEOs make about 400 times more than the average worker. So when they put these rap superstars as celebrities, and people think less of themselves because they think they got to live a thug life, they think they got to call each other derogatory terms, and and then it creates some social unrest between
I think your mic is digitizing a little, Jake.
problems. Oh,
Are you
Can I
sorry,
there?
make
man.
one comment there? Because
Yeah,
MB,
yeah,
you'd probably be familiar with this too. Don't you find in some of the inner city areas, especially with the youth, they're almost like they're brainwashed just to lose their temper at any little thing. Any
yeah.
little thing could set off a fight or violence. So,
Exactly. And I think that's one thing that rap does. It creates an attitude. It creates uh it creates this fake persona,
mhm.
this always wanting to start trouble with somebody. This, instead of smiling at somebody, hey, how you doing? It's more of, what are you looking at? It's always confrontative. And we see it even with the albums. They're always trying to look angry, and we see it, and this is rappers of all colors, all colors. Sometimes you'll see white rappers try to act more tough. And Brian Nichols, no, I don't think it's jungle drums. If it is, then we got to apply that to Rome and to Greece, because if you look up, Rome and Greece both use drums.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that. So I understand you have your beliefs and stuff, but it is Rome had drums, man, and Greece. That guy, what's up, bro? Good to see you. So it just and I think Scott Adams, hopefully he's, I mean, to me, I if whatever, when something happens and somebody passes, I don't like, I see people like saying things about him and I'm like, that's not really good. I mean, I didn't agree with some of the stuff Kevin Samuels said, but I'm not gonna, I mean, I let the guy rest in peace, or I let the guy, some people are making videos already trying to bash Adams. Adams went through a serious thing where he supported a lot of black people and black causes, and eventually what I notice is a lot of the channels that are black, I mean, it's a very low thing to do, is to make fun of somebody when they pass. And CBP, Coach Black, he did that with Kevin Samuels, and I remember talking about it. I said that's wrong, and that's why I took the stream down, that I talked a little bit about the ARC thing, and I said, you know what, that doesn't really need to be talked about. I said, this whatever it is, I said, if somebody wants to talk about that, let them make a stream on it. But when Scott said that he had I think there was a poll or something with black people that he thought supported him because he would identify with them. And it was, is it okay to be white? And I think it was like over 50%, like 51% or 50 some percent said no. And I was like, yeah, that's messed up. So then he must have, said some stuff on some of his stuff about how he felt. And I think they canceled him because he used to draw Dilbert and all of that. And he also, he had gotten the jab. And he was saying, I think he was saying something like he should have listened to what other people were saying. And it was too late, of course. And he passed, I think, a day or two ago, which is, it's sad. I mean, you look at that and it's like, I mean, the guy, see, and this is the thing I notice people don't remember, is that he did help people. And when he saw that it wasn't okay for him to be what he was born, that's when he pulled back his support. So and I would like to see some of these so-called all black channels. The all white channels are not going to be fair either, because they're just going to worship anything somebody says that's derogatory toward anybody else. It's based on a lot of hate. We don't see those channels talking about the Nick Fuentes grinder stuff, or the way they degrade women, because we do see in some instances how these people look at black women, but a lot of people don't realize how, like, there is a epidemic of white men treating white women horrible, ending them, raping. I mean, I can pull up stats. The guy that stabbed the woman in the neck in Ohio, that was in Oklahoma, that was a white guy. Jesse Butler raped 2 young girls underage, not even going to do any jail time. The president is just a straight felon.
I don't understand why people think any race is better than the other, or that people born a certain color, basically, like you're going to be racist because you're born with a certain skin color. Like,
it's really
I think it's weird that black people think, or almost all the racists think, that white people, that they're not racist if they hate people because they're white, or hate people because they're whatever. It's racism is not exclusive to certain groups. It's, if you hate someone because of their skin color, you're racist. You know what I mean? And all races all have, good people and bad people within them. So I really don't understand it.
Exactly. No, it's a mental problem. It's a form of mind control when people start to only look at things in that way. And I think rap had a lot to do, like, when I'm a person that thinks from what I've seen growing up, it was like Mr. X said, it's always an attitude. It's always a freaking attitude. And it's not to say you can't meet some people that are cool, but those are the exception to the rule. They're not the rule. And Gaia, good to see you. Gaia says, the gangster rapper is the late capitalist urban gunslinger, a fantasy template for fragile masculinity looking for armor. Wow. That's actually,
well said.
yeah, very well said, man. Yeah, just yeah, man. And yeah, Nick, I mean, this guy's like such, I mean, anybody can see, like, isn't there a video with a cop walking up on him telling him, "Are you a white supremacist?" And he immediately backpedals saying that he is Mexican. He immediately runs out with that, like that he's Mexican. I think India, and if Asmaroon, he does talk about this. The British, when they had came in there, of course, the way the Thames River was closed in Britain because of the sewage in the river. It stunk. It was disgusting. Anybody can look up these things. So the same thing that's happening in India today was happening in British. And funny enough, when the British came over there, it seems like they brought that stuff there. Now we do see that there are things that India didn't have that was there, but there was a lot of ancient technology. I mean, why else would Hitler and these other guys be so interested in that country? There was a guy that I knew that was he read David Duke's book, and he was a closet racist or supremacist or something. And we spoke a few times, and he told me about the book. And he goes, "Look, man, you know, Duke had a black mammy, and then when he went to college, the professor goes, 'I want you to argue the other side.' And then he started saying why he thought that people should be separate. And I read the book, and the guy was shocked when I talked to him the next day, and he was literally looking at me like in disbelief, like, 'Oh, you didn't read the book.' I said, 'Well, right here in this chapter, Duke is saying that he went to India to find out who he was.' I said, 'Now, you know, India is majority brown and black, right? You have some very, very dark-skinned Indians, darker than most of the Africans that you'll see, especially in America.' And I said, now think about this. And I told the guy, I said, a guy who's white, who becomes you know, Grand Wizard of the Klan, I think at one point before he ran for office, he goes to black people of India to tell him who he is. I said, do you see, right? And the guy kind of, and he was a shorter white guy. So I saw right there, it's like, okay, you're bottom of the barrel as far as what women would consider in the dating market. So you're just going to be an angry guy and probably end up found out, you know, his baby's mother is going to end up banging some Tyrone or something, or probably already did. And I noticed that's a lot of their problems. Like with Fuentes too, he's not the guy that had the women. You ever notice the white guys and the black guys that get the women never complain? They could care less about racism because they're too busy getting trim. And yeah, I don't know if China has I mean, China's government is just like, look, if you're with us, you already know the deal. So, but I don't think the supremacy type stuff is as bad as it is in America and Canada. I mean, I think it was in Canada, there was a group called the Orange Men or something like that. And all of these groups pop up. And the sad thing is we see it flowing. Other people will take this upon them and start their own group, which is just as ignorant. Like if somebody, and I'm surprised people don't see this. Like when people say anything to do with power and they put a color in front of it, doesn't matter what color, it's wrong. It's like, wait a minute. It's like, so if somebody else is saying that doesn't mean you need to say it on your side. You're just being as, you know, ignorant as that. And that guy says Duke took a trip to Jalisco, Mexico, and was surprised by all the European influence in Mexico. Wow. Yeah, there is a lot. There's a town in Mexico with a statue of a black man that had, I think the story says he drove out the Spanish. And the researcher says, okay, this town in Mexico has a statue of a black man as the hero who liberated it. He said, and there's no black people in this town. I mean, but there are parts of Mexico that's extremely racist, and they're like in the middle because they're trying to say, okay, we don't want to, we want to keep both sides at bay. So because they're like in the middle of what this whole evolution thing would classify them as, and the whole rap music thing with the bass, with the beat, it did what I see that rock couldn't do. So rock, if you play rock loud, you're not going to hear it too well at a far distance because it lacks the bass. You'll hear like it might even sound staticky from a very far distance. Bass travels and it goes through you. And it just, when I looked at in the 80s, when they were always trying to mix rap and rock, Aerosmith, right? Walk This Way with Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, which were kind of more of a carnival act. The first real white rappers who I guess could be called that would be Third Base. Now, Third Base came out in the mid 80s. A lot of people don't know about them. And the funny thing was when MC Search was the rapper, and I think Pete Nice was the other guy, and they had a black DJ. So it was two white rappers with a black DJ. I think they were from Queens and Brooklyn. And I think Pete Nice eventually, I think he might have started something for like the Black Baseball League or something like that. And this is another thing too, like Eminem, I heard, has donated a lot of money to black youth and causes. Which you don't really see that from a lot of other rappers. And, especially you see black rappers, some people might say they're too busy killing each other. And they could be right. They could be right. I mean, because I think it was Jamar, the guy from Brand Nubian, who was trying again to bring in the racist stuff by saying Eminem is just a guest in hip hop. Because they're always trying to say it was created by I guess black Americans, which does not seem to be true. And even if it is, it's like, hey, the modern sport of basketball does not seem to be created by black Americans, yet they dominate the sport. So the only reason somebody would say a white guy couldn't dominate rap is because of his prejudice. That's the only reason. And I think Jamar got called out on that by a few people, because Eminem, I don't like rap at all now, but he can rhyme words. I just look at it as very like a juvenile thing, like, oh, so you can rhyme words. Wow, how's that going to feed us? Like, unless you're getting paid and paying for the money, but how's it going to grow kids up? It's like Mr. X was saying, is it going to grow them up with an attitude? Every picture you see of Eminem, he's frowning. He's always looking at, like, what are you looking at? Always some attitude type of thing. And it's like you were saying, Mr. X, they are waiting to just pop off at any little thing. It's like they have a mental problem, and I think it's coming from the music, from the implanting of the music. No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Holy smokes. Brass Monkey by Beastie Boys too.
Well, it glorifies violence, MD. It really does glorify.
It really does. It glorifies.
Yeah.
Get
You have kids from dysfunctional homes, they're coming in the inner cities, in the single parent homes, and the latchkey kids. There's no supervision. They might have an abusive situation. And
well, even if they, now, I growing up in it, you and I being in the same generation, I remember, and I told Scribe this earlier today, I remember black mothers fighting against rap in the late 70s and early 80s, because I was just a child. Rapper's Delight came out, but I knew guys from the city that used to come out and And you know, that whole thing they try to say, oh, rap started in the Bronx, that seems to be a lie. Now with YouTube, they got, from I think the 40s, they got these 4 black guys in suits rapping about Noah's Ark. I mean, it just exploding the narrative lie that, oh, it all started in the Bronx and this and that. And I'm like, why would, again, it's a divide and conquer type of thing. It
Yes.
creates an attitude. And yeah, and I remember, yeah, Timbo, good to see you. I remember Jamar is like, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, with the whole thing. And Dave is just a straight clown. Dave is like, I mean, that guy is an evolution zombie on another level. And just the inaccuracies, the way he's very disrespectful with Dr. James Torr, who James Torr is a you know, PhD chemist. And he kind of shuts Dave down to be like, look, evolution is not scientifically a viable theory. And Dave, again, being a zombie, will constantly just quote papers. And even one of the people he follows, he even, they say the origins of life research, it's basically a scam, because every time they don't, oh no, they don't find it here, oh, but we'll find it, it
And they're
turns
very
into,
biased too. They won't accept it unless it goes with the evolution narrative.
yes,
Anything that goes against it, they reject immediately. Pseudoscience, even though it's proven. Yeah.
yeah, it total yeah, they really, I mean, that whole thing with the way Dave and then Jamar, to think about it, like, and again, if we go back to that band Brand Nubian, and there is a story where I think it was, I don't know if it was Beverly Hills 90210 or one of those shows that was predominantly white. One of the guys really liked the music that the lead singer from Brand Nubian, which was part of Jamar's gang or group or whatever, it's his rap group. The main guy was called Grand Poobah, and his prejudice toward that white guy that would have put him on, because I mean, this guy is acting in sitcoms and stuff, prevented him from going that route. And now where are they at? Where are they at? They're nobody knows or cares about them, and they're just sitting there alone with their prejudice. And this is something that I think people should look at. And that's the other thing too. When I look at people trying to say the origin or this and that, again, it's somebody trying to own it. And to me, it's like that's one of the plateaus of stupidity and ignorance, that a person will be like, well, we or these people did that first. It's like, who cares who did it first? I do it better now. I refined it. Or somebody else is going to refine it after me. And trying to, again, like I said, it's like nationalism and patriotism. It teaches you to hate people that you never met and take pride in accomplishments that you had nothing to do with. I mean, nobody here built a bridge or a railway or a road or anything like that. But yet people are quick to say, we built this country. Well, I don't think any of us did. And I don't think any of our parents or grandparents did either. I mean, they're just going along for the ride, getting, really not even going along. They're getting drug along. And the families that seemed paranoid about rock and roll when Elvis came out, I think they were actually right. They sensed something was wrong. When Rapper's Delight came out, now Sugar Hill Records, Sugar Hill is a southern part of Manhattan, close to Brooklyn, to the bridges, notorious for drugs. And this is what they call the thing, right? Sugar Hill Records. They combined drugs, violence, attitude, and then like who was it that said yeah, that guy said, yeah, I mean, the Boondocks said it best on that. You already know, it's so true. And I wouldn't say Yeah, again, like I'm saying, yeah, it was such an American exceptionalism based lie. Totally, man. It's like, and then when you look at it, it's like, okay, so who made the first wheel, right? It's like somebody telling me that, oh, well, these people made the first wheel. Okay, fine. Well, other people made improvements on that. And it doesn't take away from them that they didn't create the wheel, like gunpowder. Somebody might have, they said it goes back to China, probably way before that, but other people refined it and said, hey, if I put this into like a shell or a capsule, this could serve as the thing that projects what's at the front of it. And experiment upon experiment could have led to some of the firearms we see today, or the technology could have been bestowed upon us by another culture that already had it. So there's so many different things, and the problem is we know archaeology will lie and to protect the religion of evolution. But with rap, when we look at like those black mothers that did not, like, I remember them listening intently to kids listening to rap, and they would listen to see if there was any curses, because a lot of people don't remember that before, in the 70s, there was a rapper called Blowfly, and he had a I think it's on YouTube, a jam called Rap Dirty. And I mean, this is a very profane rap from like the 70s. And I heard that he even goes back to like the 60s. So the whole look at the KRS-One thing, right? Like how Guy is saying, yeah, they always try to, push it for say the Bronx and all of this stuff. But I met Africa Bambaataa in 2009, and I took a picture with him. He had two of his so-called sons with him. And I think a year or two later, the thing broke out with all of this stuff online about him being somebody that was abusing people in there. There's a guy with a channel all about that, Hassan Campbell, and people are back and forth. And I'm saying, well, wait a second. So there was some undercover stuff in this from back in the 70s now. And remember, Africa Bambaataa was saying that when some of the black kids that would break dance, girls would make fun of them, so they didn't want to, do it. And that's when the Puerto Rican guys stepped in and kept it alive. And then to find out all this stuff was going on under the sheets as well, things were going on there. And then I think they casted him out, the Zulu Nation, from Africa Bambaataa, what he was in. Anybody can look up the stories on YouTube. They had to like have a whole cleaning out. I mean, we already see how rap is today, and it just didn't come like that today. It's been like that since the inception of it. We look back at some of the songs. It's not a friendly music. Like when I look at, say, disco or funk or even soft rock, you want to listen to it, either relax or even dance or feel good. Nobody wants to fight after listening to certain types of disco or funk or light rock. There are some, like even that Gordon Lightfoot one, where he's saying something like, I better not catch you sneaking around my back stair or something like that. I forgot the name of the song. And I understand, okay, he's saying, hey, if I catch you around here, sneaking around my back steps, basically, he's going to do something, which is a catchy tune. But when you listen to the lyrics, you start to say, this is not where the talent shouldn't be here. So when I look at the rap, what does it have that actually that makes things better? And I don't see anything. Like there was a song that rappers made called Self-Destruction, and it was in, I think, the late 80s, and the chant was, self-destruction, always saying that word. And I said, that this is not a good song. This is not a good song under the disguise that they're trying to stop self-destruction. But if you listen to the song, you say, wait a minute, these are people just constantly um I mean, it's not good to constantly be saying that word, the self-destruction word. Mr. X, you had something?
Yeah, I was just thinking right now when, listening to you because you really opened the mind. I've heard rap, but I don't really listen to it that much. I mean, there was some good song. I mean, I like Tupac's California. That's a nice song. But other than that, but when you hear just a bit of it, it's like I can't even what imagine what that does to the mind if for
Oh,
these kids who are listening to it maybe 18 hours a day or I don't know, what, 8 hours a day. They just have their earphones on and they're constantly listening to it nonstop. That's really got to mess up your head. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it has to. I have a friend. He used to own a barber shop, and he was, him and I from the '90s. We were pretty cool, and so we were in our 20s. We knew each other, and this brother, he would. I mean, this was back when I was zombieing, and I was from the hood. I was just at that point, I was an idiot, and I would use the N word but we didn't use it because of Tupac. We used it because we were stupid.
Hmm.
And I remember him and another brother, both black men. This other guy, Tyrone, I used to play video games with him. And his father was, I think, like one of the directors for a branch on the FBI. So he was a Marine too. This guy was a 6 foot tall, heavy set black guy, but very respectful, always respectful. Even though he was hood, like we all know how to flow in the ghetto, but we know how to also act like civilized human beings. We're not going to be sitting at a dinner table or even in the fast food or anything restaurant calling each other the N word. You could see how uncomfortable it makes other people. But I remember him and the guy that owned the barber shop, they always used to use the word brother to try to kind of sway me, saying, hey, this is a little better word we should be calling each other instead of the N word. And everybody else, those are the only two positive brothers that would say it that way. Everybody else would use the N word, and it's hard to get out of it. Eventually, I just stopped using it. I didn't use it a lot, so it wasn't a big thing for me. We were already in our 20s when Tupac came out. So we were probably in our late teens when he was the ballet dancer and stuff. Who knows? I'm not sure the exact year. But and Brian's right, man. Yeah, the Carpenters, man, you
Let's do the
yeah,
Carpenters.
it's like up and away, am I beautiful? And
That's the Fifth Dimension, I think. That's the.
was that the fifth? I think they also sang that, right? Or no? Because they did a lot of cover songs, the
Carpenters.
Carpenters.
That's
Like,
yeah.
I
That's
think they sang
Marilyn McCoo and
yes,
I know what
yes,
you're
that
talking
was yeah, but I think
Maybe they did a
yeah,
version.
yeah, because that was the beautiful balloon song, right? Up and away, am I beautiful, my
Yeah,
balloon.
I just
I
remember the
think
Fifth Dimension. Marilyn
I think
McCoo
the
was singing that.
Carpenters might have sang that too.
They might
Uh
have. They might have back then. I was
uh
just thinking too, the lyrics, because it's constant profanity, talking about killing and this and that. It's like,
constant,
how can you
constant.
listen to that for hours on your ear? That's kind of crazy if you think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And I understand what Brian's saying. Some people might say brother sounds corny. I used to think that, but when instead of saying that N word, and you say,
Hmm.
yeah, this is a really cool brother over here. And this is not only just for black people, it will flow over into all people, just the way the N word flowed over from black people with Tupac into other communities, Latin and white communities. I know people that just that's all they say, and these are not black people.
Hmm.
And every word, it's like n. You see it with the Fat Joe thing, and this is not a good thing.
No.
I would rather them say brother. Um, Timbo says saw it firsthand the way rap music molded certain people. So many butt whoopings because of it too. Real gangsters don't like when you're faking it. Exactly, exactly, man. They don't play. They don't play, and gangsters don't rap. That's one thing I used to tell guys. I used to say, look, um, uh, you know, gangsters aren't trying to let people know that they're gangsters. The smart ones, at least.
Yeah.
And this glorifies it. I mean, it really, when those mothers would try to hold back the machine, right? But it was too much in the 80s. Then in the 90s, I remember showing the video on the other channel, I think, or it was one of the old videos here, where I had the Tupac videos of him talking with mothers, black mothers in the 90s. And they were trying to reach common ground with him, saying, look, um, you know, they're like, could you not use these words? Could you not hang your pants down? And he's literally saying, I had played this, and he's like, oh, well, their daddy wears their pants up by his waist, but they wear their pants like me. And I mean, the way he's acting when he's speaking to these mothers looks like it requires a beat down or something. I mean, it's like, sometimes that don't even teach uh, the people that's stuck in this mind frame. And then when you give them money, it makes it 1,000 times worse. Then you amplify their ego, because remember, stupidity and ego go hand in hand with ignorance and everything. So now you got this buffoon who's wearing an amazing amount of jewelry, like Nasir Jones, which is supposed to be like a so I don't even know what a great rapper is. It's like, that's like telling me, like, this guy that can shovel dirt, he's the best dirt shoveler in the world. It's like, it just rap, and even rock. When I look at some of these rock, the degeneracy, like the degradation, the dirty, grimy type of look that they want the white male to accept with the rock. And a lot of them did growing up. I mean, Leonard Skinner used to say that I think the principal of their high school's name was Leonard Skinner. And he would have them hold their hair down over their forehead. And if it went down too low, he'd have them go get a haircut. So it was sort of like, okay, keeping yourself in a certain modern thing, type of look. You're not gonna, like, today you got all types of different things. And Kevin Samuels had said this to black men, and I remember a lot of black guys did not want to accept this. He goes, listen, if you're going to be in corporate wearing a suit and everything, don't do it with dreadlocks. Don't do it with braids. You got to shave it. You got to keep clean cut. And I remember this guy that got the No Fugazi podcast. He's got the corn braids or whatever, and some girl that he was there trying to demean, she goes, how can I even take a guy serious that's in like his 30s wearing braids?
Yeah.
And I said, this girl just shut him down, because the one thing they like to do is always demean women, and that tells me right there that they have a problem. Yeah, Skinner had some songs, man. Freebird was good. I remember hearing that when I was in the military, but I have to admit, one of the songs that I listened to, and I still listen to it a little bit here and there, is Simple Man. And that song, that's a deep song, and Skinner is like, I mean, a lot of us wouldn't be vibing too great at a Skinner concert, but that song, Simple Man, to be a simple man, someone you love and understand. I got really cool with a lot of guys in the country when I was in Fort Hood, even in Fort Knox. I guess guys knowing that I came straight from Brooklyn, it was like a novelty, like, oh my goodness, I'm meeting somebody from New York City, which isn't a big thing. But they, of course, you had some people that we didn't have problems, but we didn't hang out. And then there were a lot of guys who call themselves country boys that were really, really good people, man. I mean, they and the racism was there. There was racism without a doubt, but I looked at it as like, I mean, sergeants. I remember they had busted some sergeants with like Klan uh, robes in their war lockers and stuff. And so the army would be on it in a way. But I remember guys that we would hang out, and I remember they my roommate. I remember when I came to Fort Hood, he got a tattoo of rebel flags on his arm, on his shoulder, and I remember a black guy that I knew in the unit that was downstairs. He goes, "Oh, that's that racist stuff." And then the guy from Georgia that had the tattoo, he goes, "No, it's not. No, it's not." And I go, "Look, man," I said, "This his tattoo, so what?" Even I've seen guys with tattoos of like swastikas, bro. I mean, I remember working because cannabis is legal now in New York for the last few years. But I remember working on farms with guys before, and I remember this one muscular white guy. He had a tattoo of a spider, and you see the 8 legs, but 4 of the legs it was in the shape of a swastika, and I was like, "Holy smokes!" It was amazing art. Um, but and he was you could talk to him. It wasn't like he's like, "Oh, I can never speak to anybody who's not part of his group or whatever." So a dialogue is what has to come to say, "Hey, you know what, that's the way you feel. Well, that's that's your that's your prerogative, man. That's okay, as long as you ain't harming nobody or whatever." And now you open up a dialogue to actually talk with the person. Like the guy when he said that thing about my room. Oh, that's that racist. And I'm like, listen. So you just want constant confrontation,
Mm-hmm.
and this happened on Gnosis's stream with a black guy that said, "Oh, when he asked him, he goes, so we denounce any like white racist groups or supremacist groups. Would you do that for black supremacists?" And he was like, "Oh, well, that's it." And I said, "There you go. I said, that says that he don't even need to answer anything after that. We know where you at.
Mm-hmm.
We know this is why you have people with these racist views on both sides." And I've noticed it getting very, very bad on the internet for both sides. I mean, the Nick Fuentes thing is on another level. But when I look at a lot of these so-called pro-black channels, if I'll see it pop up and I'm like, this ain't good. Because if somebody had a channel and they called it pro-white, we already know. So it's like, well, why would something else pro like that be good if this one ain't good? It's sort of, what it tells me is when somebody says pro whatever, it's like they're afraid. They're afraid of difference. It's like anything different they're afraid of. And difference is a beautiful thing. I'm not saying we should be forced to embrace it. That's going to make people really like hate it. And that was the problem that we've seen. Somebody's behind the scene pushing the buttons. With rap music, rap music, when it started, I saw some of the hate that Third Base got from some other more militant black rap groups in the late 80s. And Third Base was actually, they were pretty cool. They had 1 or 2 jams, the Cactus album, they were definitely playing into the stereotypes. I think one of the rappers had the flat top cut. He had like Third Base shaved into the back of his head. The other guy did wear a suit, but he was trying to act like too cool. Pete Nice. He would call himself Prime Minister Pete Nice. And again, the outfit, the costume, the attitude. Because when you look at Pete Nice, even in those videos in the 80s, he's not really smiling. I think they also made a song called Brooklyn Queens. And hey, Patterson, man, you messed up, bro. Why you gotta just, oh my goodness, man. But
But a lot of these pro groups too, MD, when it comes down to it, the people who are running the show at the top, who start these things, they really, it's more less about hate of another group. It's more they want to control people. So they're trying to manipulate people into controlling them. That's really what it is. They want to be the leaders, and they want to suck people in, and then just use whatever means necessary. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. Third base, he was nice with the cane. Hey, Patterson, oh man. It
I
just,
don't know any of these groups. I don't know.
yeah, it just, I mean, third, I didn't really, I don't remember buying their, I was a bootleg guy. So I was more or less like, I didn't, I didn't realize it because my brother-in-law, one of my brother-in-laws, he was a musician and he was like a jazz musician and he was kind of against that. And I didn't understand why. He goes, oh, the artists, and I was like, well, I ain't spending $11 on a cassette. The guy on the corner's got it for $5. Or even before those days, I would tape it off the radio, and yeah. So, but when I think about it, Gaia, there is a huge difference between Black supremacy, Black exceptionalism. Seems a lot of people don't understand the nuance right now of things like this. But why can't it just be exceptionalism instead of Black exceptionalism, right? Well, why can't it just be something that doesn't put that color on the word to say, hey, and that's a thing where I'm like, hey, you know what? We need to open a dialogue. And rap actually has zombified everybody. Like the majority, if you see, we're speaking like adults, but when we look at who's listening to the rap now, when we look at what it consists of, I mean, it's horrible on another level.
Mm-hmm.
And it is constantly pushing this attitude. And I've noticed that a little to an extent with rock music, like with Motley Crue, they wanted to fight. Nikki Sixx was a blatant racist. That on one of his, I think MTV had exposed it. This was decades ago, where he was screaming the N-word from the stage, and one Black security guard, a very big guy, you see him walking away toward the camera, like he's just walking off the job. He's like, look, this guy is going to be saying this and expects me to do security here, and he was just walking away. And I think Nikki Sixx was eventually a drug addict and stuff, but they acted like how some rappers act. And this is a rock group, Motley Crue, wanting to fight people, trying to act tough, and it's like, even rappers, nobody's a fight. These guys ain't professional fighters. It's like, come on, man. The gangsters, look, if the gangsters around, you're not going to be too tough because they ain't trying to fair fight nobody. So I've seen, like, it's hilarious, some of the rock videos of oh wow, I didn't know that. Holy smokes. Yeah, that kind of, he, and this might be stereotypical, but he kind of's got like that he's got something about him that's Mexican. It is something with Vince. Yeah. Vince Neil. That is hilarious, man. He just I heard he paid his way out of jail. I think he paid like over $1 million because I think they had went to the store and he was drunk and he got into an accident, and the person that hit the car, it ended his friend. And he was like, he ended up, he says it on video too. He's like, basically he paid his way out of jail. And of course we see Tommy Lee got famous. Nikki Sixx disappeared because of the blatant racism and drug use probably. And I forgot who the other member was, but just the name Motley Crue. Now, I never knew Motley was like a name for like raggedy, like I remember hearing a lot of the country guys, they would use it. They're like, oh, that's a motley looking crew over there, so kind of like a raggedy looking crew. Or I think from here, let me look it up. Motley. So what does motley mean? So incongruously varied in appearance. So different appearance. So like a mixed historical is party colored costume of a jester. Wow. Yeah. So
do they wear makeup, Motley Crue? Did they wear makeup?
Yeah, they did wear makeup. They didn't wear as much as Poison. Poison I mean, when I first saw their album, Look What the Cat Drug In, or look at what the cat dragged in,
Mhm.
it looked like 4 chicks on the cover. That's how much makeup with the long hair. I mean, it looked, they had makeup like, I mean, caked on. If anybody looks up the cover of Poison's album, Look at What the Cat Drug In, you start to be like, man, wow, I didn't know he ended his door. Oh my goodness. And that's Neil? Oh, that's crazy, man. That is crazy. But when we see that, right, that type of Motley Crue, uh, Poison, I think Bret Michaels might have been the lead singer for that. I think he beat up CC. I don't know if his name is CC Pennison or something, but they were supposedly friends, and he beat him up really badly. He was saying. So, I mean, you
Yeah.
just look at this. That's like the behavior we see with rap groups today, but they don't call out the rock groups. We know why, because we already see. But the rock groups
Yeah, I
didn't.
just looked it up. Poison. I just looked up the album
You
cover.
see, you seen the cut, right?
Oh
Right.
my God, it's so strange.
I don't know if there's any other one that's that bad, right? That's much makeup.
Not offhand. I was never really into Poison, so I wasn't familiar with their music. But this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't know about them. I found out years later when I was in the military, and they had the cassette tapes in the album at the PX. So they would, when we got like a little bit of time off, we were able to go to the PX, going from basic training to advanced training. And I remember seeing the album, and one guy had bought it, and you gotta be kidding me. Because you see the album cover now, right? Isn't it crazy?
yeah, like a bunch of women.
It's unbelievable. Like, you try to explain it to somebody, the best thing you can do is say, look, look up, the album cover, and that'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the name, Brian. Yeah, CC DeVille. Thanks, man. Wow, his daughter passed at 4. Oh my goodness, man. That is so sad, man. And it makes me wonder too, like how Eric Clapton's kid, they say, fell. I think it was in New York City. The windows usually have these grates that protect children from falling out them. And I think his 5-year-old fell. And would and it's a tough. I don't even really want to say much about it, because we already know what people try to say could be a sacrifice or something, or maybe somebody else did it to him. Who knows? And Eric Clapton, I have to admit, has come out. Yes, Cinderella. I remember Cinderella with Save Me. They never really had another jam besides Save Me, but that was I remember one of the drill sergeants was like, they're jamming, man. And Rat, yes. I heard Rat. I think it's with 2 T's. The guy, the
Oh, they
lead
were good.
singer-
Round and Round.
Yeah, Round and Round. Yeah, his uncle, I think, was Milton Berle.
Mm.
And that's how he got the deal. Yeah, they did have some songs. I remember Save Me. That was like their main, like, flagship. Round and Round. It was a catchy tune, man. It was a catchy tune.
Yeah,
And
like that. That's the one hit wonder kind of group.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, people give them these hits. I don't think they write.
Yeah, I agree. I agree
Oh,
100%.
Yeah, like Girls Just Want to Have Fun. That was a guy that wrote that 10 years prior, and he was playing it on an acoustic guitar. And it was actually pretty catchy. But then when they put the synthesizer, Cyndi Lauper, and one thing I noticed about Cyndi Lauper on that video, I guess it was in like 1980. She had many different type of there was a part where it showed a grid of girls, like 9 girls, like a phone grid or whatever, right? And they were different ethnicities. And I was like, wow. I mean, she had like a brown Spanish girl, a black girl, like a tan girl, a couple of light-skinned girls. Like I was like, wow, she's like, this is a very diverse thing to see. Lita Ford, I remember that. Yeah, she went to a party, but she didn't get laid or something like that. I remember hearing her song, Leaderboard. Yeah. It's like, it's something, it ain't no good thing or something. I forgot the name of that song. She's like, didn't get laid, but I got in a fight. Uh-huh. It's just a good, yeah, something. I remember that was an old, long time ago. Holy smokes. You're looking at decades, Lita Ford. But with the rap, see, these songs, we can look at the rock songs and see, okay, it has a different vibe. Even if you get into the degenerate type of rock and you start to say, all right, it's not the greatest. But again, it influences rebellion, which you already know. You rebel at the wrong time and you know what they got waiting for you. Like Judas Priest, just a song. Do you really want your kid who's a teenager who might be with friends using some type of illicit drug singing Judas Priest, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, break. It's like, I don't think I'd want my nephew singing that because it might push him to break the law. Also, they had I'm Your Turbo Lover, right? Now, the guy coming out, really gives a new meaning to Turbo Lover. And yeah, Ozzy. I remember listening to Black Sabbath though. Before, I was never into just Ozzy, but I remember hanging out with a few guys and we would listen to War Pigs. What was the album? I Sold My Soul for Rock and Roll. Matter of fact, this girl bought me the CD. I think I still have it. She's so nice. Heather's a sweet person. When I told her, I said, yeah, I used to listen to that back in the day because there was a jam they had called Sweet Leaf. That was a rockin' jam. Sweet Leaf, Fairies Wear Boots. That was a cool jam too. Yeah. When I look at it, Sons of God, good to see you, brother. He says same thing with Quiet Riot. Come on, feel the noise. Yes, it's a cover song, exactly. And they rocked it. I'll give it to them. They definitely rocked it. But yeah, it is a cover song. You're absolutely right. There's so many cover songs. I mean, Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You, was written by Prince. Also Shaka Khan, when she sang I Feel For You with Melly Mel, that was written by Prince. I mean, there's a lot of cover songs, man. I mean, you look at, that's where how Mr. X and I was saying that, yeah, it kind of, oh yeah, Nobody's Fool. That was a good song. I forgot about that one. Wow. You know the songs. Holy smokes, man. But I have to admit, like that song Simple Man from Skinner, that's a pretty cool song, man. That's a song that I might have listened to it within the last 2 months. And it would be something that might be too country for some people. But I'm like, I think it's an excellent song.
But do you think you're comparing, I was just saying, we were comparing rock to rap. I don't know. From an outside observer, yeah, rock had a big influence in the '80s and so forth with some of the youth and the drugs and so forth. But I don't know. Do you think rap maybe, and maybe it's not, I'm not saying it's because of a particular race of people at all, but more about socioeconomic status, that it's just when people come from lower ends or more dysfunctional homes, the impact is greater. Do you think that's possible? Whereas, a lot of the white kids came from middle class neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, I definitely.
I'm saying more socioeconomic than anything else, not racial.
Well, yeah, no, the socioeconomics allowed it to get in there. And I remember, I mean, it was like a drug. I mean, we were at the radio, like waiting to hear, something new. We had used the cassette player with the radio to tape it, just pieces. If we hear it come on, we quick, and it was such like a drug, basically, before drugs, basically, because we were so young. Davey D, DMX, that was just basically more instrumental. And the amazing thing, and this is what shows me that this is all government created, the mixtapes, exactly, bro, exactly. A Simple Man, that's a amazing rocking song, bro. I mean, it's a peaceful song. I feel good when I hear that, where, because I'm my mother's only son, so when he says, his mother, come sit beside me, my only son, and, to be a simple man, someone you love and understand. I mean, it has some the mixtapes. I remember mine, and I do remember Docking. I do remember Docking.
Oh, Docking, yeah.
Oh my goodness, Abe Patterson's bringing them out, man. But you're right with the rap. Like when that when that came in, I think the socioeconomic group, that was the opening, because they wouldn't have been able to get that in to where rock went into. You see, so, and especially with the faces that are on it, and this is what I try to tell Scribe. I said, this is where Eminem opened the door to help, in my opinion, destroy the white community. Because if a mother in a say a middle class white suburban neighborhood is hearing her son listen to rap, and she sees Tupac's picture on that album, he's going to say, I don't want you listening to that. Now, this is just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
She most likely, you got this black guy on the cover, or whatever. And it goes back even to the 60s and the 50s with some of the black artists. But the black artists back then actually had pretty good songs, like the Supremes.
Totally
I hear a symphony. I'm like, yo, that's jamming stuff today. Love Hangover. They were dressed appropriate.
Right.
They were dressed with class. When you look at some of the black performers from back, I mean, Elvis got some of his songs and his moves from them. Hound Dog was a black lady that actually made that song first. And that was one of his biggest hits. And to show that there is something behind the scene, they had Elvis push, like the rap pushes the jail culture. Elvis did that. He pushed it with Jailhouse Rock. I mean, why would you want a song about jail? That makes no sense.
Right, no. Well, you know what I think, though, too? Yeah, you're 100% right. Back in the 50s, even before that, I mean, music, black artistry in music was legendary, back then. Real positive songs, real good songs, and deep songs. But I think it's just the corporations, it got controlled. And it's really more the corporations promoting the garbage, you know what I'm saying? And the real artistry being, left out. Because there's no question about it in the early part of the century. I mean, the jazz musicians, the blues, they're all, you can go on and on and on with the great African American performers. They're all over the place. Yeah. It seems like they were just pushed to the side.
Yeah.
For the, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It didn't fit the agenda. Like Jailhouse Rock, like one lady said that she's seen that Elvis was like mentally controlled. Like she's seen him projectile vomit, like on command or something. I think the video's still on YouTube. And she goes, yeah, he was totally, even Frank Zappa said, he goes, what they did to him was it was sad, just strung him out, hard. And Eminem tried to say that he was like the Elvis of the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. When he came out. Now, picture the mother hearing the rap, and instead of coming in and seeing Tupac's picture on the album, she sees Eminem's picture. So, and Eminem is not really blonde haired. He has dark, like a brownish hair, like a reddish brown. So that was all an act. So he's bleach blonde. And she sees that and she's like, oh, okay. Now that allows the rap music, what should I call it? The rap mental programming to get in. And because remember, white kids were listening to rap. NWA said that what shocked them the most is when they went out on their first concert, one of the guys was saying, he goes, it was a sea of white kids, like thousands. He goes, they didn't even imagine something like that. They thought they were going to be playing to mixed or mainly black crowds. Right. So they were opened up to a whole new, audience. And one professor, even though I think he could be partially right, he said what it does is it sells the ghetto experience to people that never have to come to the ghetto.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it does that, but I think also what it does is it amplifies the ghetto and makes it worse than what it really is. So it's like you can go to like my friend has a dispensary in Brooklyn, right? So he got the license and everything. So they're selling weed out of there, and it's in a bad neighborhood, man. It's not too far from Brownsville, and Brownsville is brutal in Brooklyn. That's where Mike Tyson comes from, East New York, right around there, Canarsie. And so he's north of that, and it's not it's not a great neighborhood. Um, and I was talking with Scribe about it because Scribe had helped build his website and everything. Because I go, look, I got a friend that's really really good at this stuff. You'll save yourself a couple of thousand, and Scribe hooked them up. So I'm saying I've stood in front that shop, and I know it's bad. I know it's bad in that neighborhood, and I stood in front there with no fear. Now, granted, yeah, I was born in Brooklyn. I wasn't born in that area. I was born in an area a little more west that might have been, I would say it's a little better, but not great. It was still the ghetto. Places like Williamsburg and stuff are a better part of Brooklyn. You're looking at Money Now, Italian, Jewish neighborhoods. But Borough Park was more Puerto Rican, black, mixed, and there was a Jewish on 13th Avenue. They had. I remember there. It was. It's not. It's like segregated, but it's not segregated. But with Guy says, I never knew Eminem said that. How pompous! What a one. Yeah, you can look it up, bro. Yeah, he said it. He was trying to be like the Elvis. They were pumping him up. And yeah, the lobbyists, the music industries to make song about jail was so true. The fact that Ice Cube is coming out and saying that what now or the last, even if it's the last 10 years, is too little, too late, because he benefited off of those songs and getting rich off of sending his own so-called people down that pipeline. So when they try to turn around and then just blame, like, oh, but it's the record executives, or blame somebody who is not of their ethnic background, it's all BS. It's all BS. When I hear these guys come out and they start, oh, well, we don't own it. It's like, wait a minute, you don't got to make the music. They looked at your face, and everybody in the ghettos identified with that and started calling each other the N-word. They thought it was okay. That wasn't good enough. Tupac had to go out and say, oh, it's a term of endearment and this and that. It's like, really? We'll call your mother that. And you know what the crazy thing is? Some of them do. And that's the saddest thing. That is rap to me created a like a whole culture of something that it seems, when I look at it, brother Mike Temper, man, thank you, bro. He says best stream on YouTube. Oh, dear mom, you might summon Scribe, man. He might come on. Oh, Scribe said he might come on. I spoke with him earlier. I was going to do the stream on some presidential stuff because I saw like there's a lot of this president stuff going on, right, in the news or something. With the Minnesota and all that stuff. It just looked on the internet like that's some hot stuff. And then Scribe was like, what's up? I thought you were going to do the Tupac thing. He's ready to come on and battle. So I don't know if he's talking to some chick or something right now, or if he's going to come on, because I wasn't going to even start it as early as I did. Yeah, if we say Tupac, he might be coming on. Tupac.
Or some of the beast.
Oh my goodness.
You know what else I noticed too, MD? I haven't commented on the
Dear and Mama, yo, Bryant is hilarious, bro. Oh my goodness, that's some funny stuff, bro. That is some funny stuff. And that's the thing. We should be able to laugh about this stuff. We're mature men. You know what I'm saying? We're saying, hey, this is what it is. This is what
have you noticed, MD? Like, I'm sure you see it all the time in New York. I see it here. These guys will be driving by blasting this stuff real loud with their speakers. And sometimes they even put in the back of the car these giant speakers.
Yep.
And it's like, these are, number one, they're grown men. Number two, do they ever think that, first of all, they look like a bunch of idiots doing that, they're acting like fools. But having this music with this profanity, do they ever consider that they're grown men and there's kids around? They don't even think about that.
Yep.
So the degeneracy is off the handle.
Yeah.
It's like there's little kids around and you're blasting music with curse words all over the
Yep.
place.
Yeah.
So that just tells you the degradation that happens in society right
Yeah.
there.
Exactly. Degrading those kids since childhood. Like not even,
Mhm.
I mean, it's horrible. And the fact that now, see what people don't realize, if they study it, like I grew up like you did before rap. Well, we thought it was before rap because rap really does go into the 70s in the Bronx and stuff with Kool Herc and stuff, but it wasn't really as available.
Right.
And we remember R&B, we remember disco, we remember funk, light rock, which was beautiful music actually.
Mhm.
And then we saw when the 80s hit, bang, because I think King Tim the Third from Fatback was before Rapper's Delight, but it wasn't known. It was like on a 45 record. Then Rapper's Delight came out. It was a straight drug because they used the beat from Good Times from Chic, that group Chic, which is an amazing musical group. So they used Good Times, the theme, and they rapped over that. And now when that came out, that's like 79, 80. Then you get the explosion. You get LL Cool J. Well, the Beastie Boys were there first. And then you get Run DMC. That really broke it into the next thing because they wore the fedora cap. They had, again, the uniform. So just like the rockers had their uniform, and back in the day, like if anybody looks at the cover of the Van Halen album, I think from 77, the one where they had Running with the Devil, Ain't Talking About Love and stuff like that. The
Mhm.
pictures on the front of that album is kind of like, I was like, holy smoke, this is some wicked stuff. And there is a subliminal where David Lee Roth, where he's holding the mic, he holds it right at a position where it's very suggestive. Um, but it's a bad, it's a bad picture. I was like, holy smokes, these guys were rocking. And then it turned into Van Hagar in the 80s with Sammy Hagar. But I guess their best album was 1984 with the angel smoking a cigarette and the tattoo,
Oh, right.
great picture that they had on there. But once Hagar got in it, it turned into kind of Cuck City in a way.
Yeah.
Because it was all, well, is this love? Love's come walking in. I mean, some of the songs are a little catchy, but I was like, yeah, they ain't and these guys were saying that they were just guys from, I think, Nebraska or something, Mammoth, Nebraska. And Eddie Van Halen, I think, was born in the Netherlands. I think he was born over in Holland.
Mm. I actually saw them in concert. I was in 6th grade.
Oh, wow.
They took us. Yeah, he said, I got tickets to Van Halen. I didn't even know who they were.
Wow.
We went to it. It was so loud, though. I remember as a kid, I couldn't, the first rock.
Oh, yeah, that's like brutal for a kid, man. Scribe just wrote me, said his internet, he'll be on soon. But yeah, that's amazing that you got to go to a Van Halen concert in the 70s.
It was actually 1980. It was
1980. But right, yeah, well, that's right on the
I think it was 79 or 80. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Holy smokes, man. That's like I remember as a kid, I went to Madison Square Garden. I was really young, and I saw Bobby Backlund. He was the champion with Jimmy Superfly Snooker.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that, and we had to use binoculars because the seats were so far away from the cage. But yeah, but wow, Van Halen, man. I didn't even know. I remember seeing Star Wars. Yeah, 1984, man. I have to admit, Jump. They say Jump was a song inspired. They were in LA and somebody was going to jump off a building. And that's when they're saying that David Lee and them wrote the song, like, because he said, might as well jump,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and jump, like kind of, people call it a Sue song, actually. And
it's a catchy tune, though.
It's a catchy tune, bro. That tune is so
Panama.
I could listen to the instrumental of it. It's so catchy. It's like that song is a catchy tune. I have to admit, it's really the only song I think I remember from that album.
What about Panama? Panama was a pretty popular song.
Panama was okay. It was okay. I was wondering why they made that song though. Like, was it because of the stuff that was going on in Panama, or
I don't know.
Scribe told me he thinks it's because of the chicks, because Panama has always been the spot for women. Because it's when Scribe told me this back in 2020, it was something that he said that there's times when people say stuff where you'll remember it forever. And because I never really, I've been to South America, but what's in Panama? The canal, that's it. Nobody's thinking about Panama. And when he goes, listen, he goes, Panama is the Switzerland of Latin America. When he said that phrase, it woke me up. I said, holy smokes. And he goes, look, it runs on the dollar. It's always run on the dollar. It has the Americans here building up infrastructure. And he goes, it's modern. He goes, so all the chicks come here for the American dollar. They're coming from Colombia. They're coming from Venezuela. They're coming from Costa Rica. But they're also coming from Russia. I mean, when I first met him, I mean, we used to like talk about a lot of the stuff with women and stuff. And yeah, Panama is a spot hot. So when they made Panama, I think it was about the women. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could be. But
Yeah,
that proves it right there. This
Yeah.
world runs on money. That's why I'm always preaching about money. What you just said, the American dollar's there, and guess what? The American dollar alone attracts all these people. Like that tells you where the power lies.
It really does.
Currency. You know what I mean?
It
It's
really
ridiculous.
does. And you know what the funny thing is, though? When I went to Amsterdam, right? Now it's been like 15 years or something. I remember that was the wake-up call. When I tried to spend American dollars, they were like, they wouldn't take it. And people were really cool with me because I was cool with people. And one of the guy at the coffee shop, he tells me, he goes, look, we're not going to give you a fair rate here. You better, because I go, look, why don't I just pay you in American dollars and you just give me the exchange? He goes, nah. He goes, we're not going to be. He goes, that's just the way it is here. He goes, nobody wants to cater to, like, they didn't hate Americans. When they saw I was like more relaxed, they were much more cool with me. But he goes, you got to go to the exchange. You'll get a better rate. They would not even want to accept American money. As in other countries, they're dying for American money. Other countries, that's all they want.
But you know why they can act like that is because the exchange rate was fine for them. The euro, I don't know if they were on the euro at that time.
Oh yeah, they were on the euro at that time, and it was
the euro is very strong. It's almost equal.
I traded in it was at the time I went, it was worse. I traded in $3,000, right? I said, okay, I'm going to go here for a couple of weeks. I'll spend like $3,000. I traded in the first 1,000. I got like 740. I think the next one I got like 720, and then the last one I got like 710. I remember adding it up, and I said, wow, I got like $2,200, 2,200 euros from my $3,000.
Yeah, so the euro was actually stronger currency.
Oh, it was stronger. Yeah, it was definitely stronger.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. That's why they had the privilege of doing that. If it was a weak currency like the Mexican peso or the Thai baht, they wouldn't be talking like that. They'd be down US dollars.
Yeah, they want the dollar. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get past the BS and what the real reason is.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't like to we're this, we're that. No, bullshit.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Yeah,
the value of your currency. That's all.
Yeah. Because in Dominican Republic, they didn't want pesos. They were looking for those dollars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And every other country too. It's not that they're ashamed of their culture. No. It's not that they're not prideful in themselves. It's because their currency isn't worth anything. It's very well, it's worth something, but it's worth very little compared to the dollar,
Yeah. They know they can get a better rate from somebody else in their own country if you give them a dollar than we would get if we went to the exchange. Like in Uruguay, right under Brazil, they didn't have a great dollar exchange. Like their currency was low, but they weren't pushing to be paid in the dollar. Because I remember going to the exchange, trading money in, and I would pay them in their I think it was pesos or something, and dollars, like dollar pesos. And so I did notice that different. Argentina is a little more expensive. So now you're going to get into Argentina, funny enough, there's something going on.
They have a hyperinflation going on right now.
Yeah, that, and then also there's a lot of people in Argentina that there's a thing, they don't even like to be considered a Latin American country. They some people will call themselves a European country. I'm like, this is South America, right? You know, this is not Europe. And uh yeah, there's like a joke in South America. Like when I went to Europe, there was a joke, you don't become white until you come to America. You know, like, so the people that are there that are Flemish and Danish and, you know, Belgian, you know, they know that that's what they are. They're not white, they're Belgian, they're German, they're from Deutschland, you know. To say that is like calling a guy from Uganda black and then a guy from Somalia black. It's like these are two different people. And so yeah, with when I was in Europe, they also said, they had a joke. They said a person that knows 2 languages is bilingual. A person that knows 3 languages is trilingual. A person that knows 1 language is American. And I was like,
wow.
yeah, and I laughed, and that was a big thing that got me close with people, because I would laugh. They would see it was genuine. I was like, man, that's some funny stuff, but it's true. And we'd hang out. You know, everything was cool. Amsterdam was the only country that I've been to in the world that I felt like the police were there to protect me. I remember one time I was talking with 2 guys from Eindhoven. So they were from about an hour away from the city. And we were at the red light district. And this girl that was in the window came out and was saying something in Dutch. And the dude responded in Dutch. And he goes, oh, she's just mad because we're having a conversation here. And I remember she called the cops. And the cops, and I was like, man, there's too many cops walking around here. There 2 came on foot, 1 came on a bike, another 2 was, I said, they're watching. And they watched and they walked by, never once bothered us, and saw that we weren't doing anything wrong and left us alone. And I looked at that and I said, wow. And I remember one time, you know, I did the mush when I was there. So I'm tripping on the mushroom and the cops are there. And they're like, hey, it's like there's a police station. They're like, look, just sit on the bench out here in the police station if you get, you know, if you start tripping too much. And I was like, thanks. I was like, I appreciate that. You know, I didn't have to sit on the bench, but I was like, look at that. I was like, it just was so friendly. And I'm like, you know, floating around the city, having fun, meeting people, you know, spending money, laughing. And it was a great time. I have to admit, it was a great time. And in Amsterdam, what the thing was over there, they would play. What I found to be a little tacky was I was in a supermarket and they were playing Akon's song where he's saying, I want to F you. And they're playing it in the supermarket and you're hearing the words, the full F word. And, you know, people are shopping with their kids. And I'm like, what the heck is, you know, I'm like, holy smokes. And then in the red light district, I remember people would go through there with the husband, the wife, and the 2 kids. And both kids are like under 10. Wow. And they said that people would bring their kids there and call it the sex museum, as kind of like, okay, let's go look at the sex museum. So in a way, it would inhibit kids from growing up to want to be in that business. Yeah. And I remember talking with a lot of Dutchmen there, and they said, yeah, the average person looks down on the red light district. Like, you don't want to, yeah. You know, nobody wants their daughter to be working there, you know. And most of the girls that I saw there were all from other countries. You know, Spain, Russia, Indonesia, Hungary, Poland, like just, it was unbelievable, the diversity that I saw there in the red light district. I remember a guy told me in the Army, he goes, look, man, he goes, anybody that goes to Germany is that didn't pay, that went over there and didn't go to the red light district, is either lying or they're undercover, one or the other. He goes, no straight guy is going to go there. Like what I saw in Amsterdam, I mean, it was like right out of a corn film. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, this is unbelievable. Women that was so beautiful. I was just like, holy smokes. Uh-oh, it's about to get live now. Oh. It's about to get live now. The Tupacian.
I think he lives on flat Earth, Tupac.
I see a very negative picture of Tupac on the thumbnail there.
Oh, the negative picture? Are you there?
Yeah, you had to put a negative picture in the portrayal. You see,
No, that's not a
it's already
negative.
aggressive. It's already aggressive. See from the beginning. Yeah.
So him spitting at the camera, which is extremely disrespectful and aggressive, and me just putting it up there. Which one? It's so he's not being disrespectful, right? Are you there? I don't know. Let me see if your mic is still. Yeah, the mic looks like it's working. But I mean, Tupac Earth. Yeah, you guys are hilarious, man. This I mean, yeah, the Tupac thing, and my whole thing is he definitely. I don't think he was a good um, role model. I don't think any rapper is a good role model. Any musician, really. I mean, it's hard. I mean, we can find probably some musicians. I don't think we're going to find them from the rap or rock genre. Maybe from I mean, who knows any modern classical musicians? I don't. Yeah, I mean, but the way, like that one guy that I played on the clip, the way people look at Pac as like they almost deify him. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's like, how do
They
you,
did because that's part of the storyline. That's part of the thing where he put that on the album cover to say, look, they're going to do this and it's all good, but pass along the message at least. And he told his mom and stuff. He told everybody. He pretty much told everybody. He wrote his own eulogy on there, and that was it. I mean,
do you
he knew
think
he
it could
crossed
have
the
been
line. Once he
fake?
put that name on there, he knew he crossed that line before. You're not supposed to be saying that kind of stuff, especially during those times when it was never talked about. So by him doing that was like crossing the line, like
I mean, you really think that Pac was a revolutionary and it wasn't like a whole orchestrated act?
no,
Because
because towards the end, it's like to go to those extremes, and then the hit him up thing. Like, that wasn't really him. He was just pretty much like, man, my supposed best friend betrayed me and all that with Bad Boy Records and Diddy and all that stuff. So when that happened and then he got shot and all that stuff, that's when he just kind of lost him. Like, look, this is crazy, man. I can't. I'm trying to do something here, and I got to worry about this, and then now I find out about these guys running the world and stuff. It kind of made him,
well,
I guess, a little bit crazy.
look at the P Diddy thing with Pac, right? Wouldn't it have been better to be like, look, we shouldn't be fighting each other, so this is what you think, this is what I think. That's it. Like rap is the only music that I've seen where the artists try to end each other's lives. I mean, it's so juvenile. I mean, to think that there's a rapper called Juvenile who was successful years ago. I mean, it's like a
That's the thing. Look at the ties. You have P Diddy, whose father worked directly with Frank Lucas, American Gangster thing. I mean, when you look at these ties, like, oh, so this guy's already been in that situation, so his dad must have got him a pass or whatever to get in there and do whatever. So when you have that, and plus Tupac's side, Black Panther, you have these groups that are already, at war with each other, and then you have
Mhm.
the offspring take control once they're of age to do that. So the war is already set. It's not like they just, oh, we're going to beef for no reason. It's like you get, the
Yeah.
territories and stuff that they've been there a long time. So it's not like they're just going to give it up for whoever.
What do you think of this? I'm just going to grab my tea, but I figured I'd put this up here. I never heard of KR Sone or kerosene.
KRS-One.
Oh, okay. Here, just let me grab my tea and I'll comment if you got anything
Yeah,
to say.
go ahead. Yeah, KRS-One. I say, yeah, it's pretty good nowadays. He created the Stop the Violence movement within hip hop. He discourages and criticizes commercial gangster rap for the sociological damage it inflicts. I mean, I think KRS-One's pretty dope. He's got some dope rap stuff, but in the end, I mean, he's had talks where he's pretty much, I wouldn't say he is a Freemason, but I mean, he said he was offered and stuff, so he does know about the mystery schools and stuff like that. So he's flowing with it, letting you know, okay, this is bad. But Pac was like, no, I'm going against it head on. If I got to organize and do things, to actually make a difference, then he's going to have to get that do that extra step. Because the message ain't really, that's good, but at the same time, it's not going to really stop anything. So unless he got active politically and all these other things which he wanted to do, then he could definitely stir the pot. But so I'm saying this goes beyond the whole the rap thing and all that stuff.
I mean, yeah. Well, this is the problem that I got with KRS-One, because I used to like him. I had the Philosophy album and all of that, and Blueprint of Hip Hop. One is when the allegations came up against Africa Bambaataa, he said that, oh, he's a pioneer of hip hop, basically like he should be untouchable. Now, there's a lot of people that came out on Africa Bambaataa about when they were kids and stuff he did to them when they were children, 8, 9, 10 years old. If you look at the Hassan Campbell channel, it'll tell you a lot about KRS-One. That was a big thing. The other thing is, if you look up the conspiracies of him supposedly being, some people try to link him to the Scott LaRock ending. Because remember, Scott LaRock was the one that knew about the record deals and stuff. And again, when I look at it, their first album, Scott LaRock and KRS-One, are on the album cover. What's the name of the album? Criminal Minded. KRS-One, in my opinion, is a high-level BS artist. He knows how to speak to people, but I don't trust him. Like, especially like he's saying, okay, rap is how you live, hip hop, all BS, all BS. Rap and hip hop, right? You know what the difference is? And let me show you this from me growing up in this. Rap is basically, oh, I put my foot in my mouth and my hand up my butt and all, just senseless crap. Hip hop is supposed to be rhymes that talk about things like issues, like how he said in My Philosophy, if you were to what was it, to run or govern a certain industry, everybody in this room would be in misery, because no one would get along nor sing a song, because everybody would be singing for the king. Am I wrong? So he had some stuff there where it's like, oh, that makes sense. But then when you look at the previous, you say, you know what, let me look at the previous album, Criminal Minded, weapons on the cover, all of this stuff. So it gives a confusing thing. And then when somebody like Africa Bambaataa gets called out for violating people, he says that the guy should be untouchable. And the big thing with Scott LaRock was ended, and they try to say that that Scott LaRock, that they were saying that somebody on the rooftop had ended him with a rifle. They tried to blame some kid, and they said eventually the cops were like, there's no way this kid would have been able to get up to the roof and get back down in time. So we know he couldn't have done it. They suspect the people that have something to do with Jive Records, because Jive Records had a problem with people owning their stuff. Like as far as what I know, and you could look this up, conscious rap, I don't even think conscious rap exists. It just like, and people start to get like in their feelings when I say this, when they say, oh, what about positive rap? And I said, there's no such thing as positive rap.
Well, what about poetry?
Poetry can hit you in many different ways. But now when you hear poetry, this is the difference. You don't have a beat opening you up subliminally to implant the lyrics of the poet. You actually get to listen, if you're reading it, even better, because now you're reading it in your mind and you're thinking about what the poet wrote. You don't have this beat and this cadence pushing it into the neurons of your brain by force, by who knows. I mean, rap, I'll be the first one to say some of the beats and the jingles are funky. That's what opens you up. You start to say, holy smokes, who the hell created this beat, man? I mean, look at Rockbox. Rockbox is such a crack beat. I was still will listen to that and some of the lyrics too. You know, that was the best, in my opinion, rock rap mixture of a record ever. So any record that mixed rap and rocks together, the best one that I've ever heard is Rockbox by Run DMC. And I always wondered,
Straight up mixer. I think Dre beat them all.
nah, have you ever heard Rockbox?
I've heard some, but that's a mixture of rap. I'm talking about straight rap. I'm talking about like
No, I'm saying a mixture. So anybody that mixed rock and rap together, like how not Third Base, but the Beastie Boys try to do. Brass Monkey was kind of cool, but Rockbox was on another level. And then I wondered, in the video of Rockbox, they have like an older white guy, like a scientist, like an Einstein type of guy, and he's trying to define it like a scientist. Like he's like, what is rap? And blah, blah, blah. And it's a boring beginning. And then after about a minute, you hear he's like, Run DMC. And it's like, and then you hear the twingle, like the ding-a-ling-a-doom, doom, ding-a-ling-a-doom, doom. All of that is mental programming. All of that is mental programming. That is such a mental
like a chant.
Huh?
That sounds like a chant, yeah.
Well, not more than a chant. These tones and these bells open up parts of the mind. So when you hear it, it's like doom doom ding a ling a doom doom ding, and then the guitar comes it dan 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 dan. I remember them playing this in the hood, and it was amazing. I mean, the effect, I could still feel it as a teenager, like, holy smokes, this is just amazing. And then you got the cadence of Run DMC together, DJ Run, which is Russell Simmons. No, Joe Simmons. That's Russell Simmons' brother, I think. So Russell Simmons is producing this. And then DMC, the real powerhouse of the rap. And then you think of what they're saying. Boys, sucker MCs perpetrating the fraud. You rather go something than let the crowd go bored. And that's when he says, like, my name is Joseph Simmons, but my middle name is Run. And when you're thinking about it, it's like, okay, what are they really talking about? Again, it's kind of nothing, but it is a grooving beat. I mean, Rockbox is a grooving freaking beat. And then then think of the name of the album that they had. I don't know if it was that album or the next one. It was called Raising Hell. Raising Hell, right? Then they got religious, and they had, I think later on, they had one called Down with the King, and they were referring to the king as either Jesus or God, because maybe they saw something. Now, in an interview that I remember, DMC, I don't know if his name is Darren McLaren or something like that. He said, he goes, we smoked so much weed, it was ridiculous. He goes, we smoked more weed than people could grow. He goes, that's how much weed we smoked. He goes, but we couldn't rap about it. He goes, because we knew that people would it would influence people. Because in the song Sucker MC, I think it was, he has a verse that says, I'm the cool chief rocker. I don't drink vodka. I keep a bag of Chiba inside my locker. Go to school every day to work and play. So in other words, Chiba was a word for weed back then, like reefer and Chiba, I remember as a kid. And they changed that to, I keep a microphone inside my locker. Because they knew that if kids, I mean, we were smoking weed in high school. We didn't care. But if kids are hearing that, like, I'm the cool chief rocker, I don't drink vodka, I keep a bag of Chiba inside my locker, go to school every day, and it's like, it's catchy. It's freaking catchy, man. And then with the beat, I mean, Sucker MC's The first time I heard that, it was like almost like a
Well, you
magic.
see, that's all it is. It's just a flex. When you compare that with a Tupac song, you get
Oh my
Goodness.
a completely different thing. And when you combine Dre, who's the best mixer, with Tupac, the best
Oh
lyricist,
my
you
goodness.
get something you're never gonna,
I can't. I
you
can't.
know.
And you're telling me, so
Okay, so
just the
you
way,
want to compare some lyrics? So let's compare some lyrics. Give me one of yours, and I'll give you like a line from his thing. Let's compare the two and see
okay, go ahead.
what are they talking
I'm
about.
not looking up line. I remember this off of memory because it's been brainwashed into me since I was a kid. So that's how I remember it. I'm not, if I looked it up, I would know it exactly. But I remember this right off the top of the head to say, okay, um, like Peter Piper picked peppers, but Run Rock rhymes, with Peter Piper, and then come to see that that was based. That beat came from a beat from, I think, a '70s song. It was a Caribbean song with steel band. So again, it was showing me that rap, without me knowing it, is based on stealing from somebody else, stealing a piece of their song. Now, could that influence a culture? Could that influence a culture to be more in line with being thievery? To saying, because that's what happened in a lot of rap. James Brown actually talked about that because he was the most sampled uh
Okay,
song.
let me give you just a quick snippet of one of these.
About
So
the
he's
Tupac.
talking about being cool, going down the street, whatever, blasting music, whatever they all be talking about. Look, so he's talking about my block. The song itself is called My Block. Like he's just observing what happens on his block. And he says like, now things are constantly hot on my block. There never fails to be gunshots. Can't explain a mother's pain when her son drops. Black males live in hell when we prevail. Fearing jail, but crack sales got me living well. I mean, that just
So
in
all right,
four
you don't see the
lines, in
problem.
four bars.
You don't see the problem with that. You don't see the problem with telling kids in a song with a beat that opens up their mind, crack sales got him living well.
Yeah.
That
And
will
then
inspire somebody to do that. You know that, right?
no, he's giving you a biography of what he's doing.
It does.
And he
It
says, God
doesn't.
help me because I'm starving. I can't
People
get a
want to
job, so I resort
follow.
to violent robberies.
Yeah,
My
but
life is hard.
people want to
You see.
follow. So they're going to commit those what he's saying right there. They're
No,
going
he's
to,
letting you know what he was forced into. He's not telling
and
you to
they're
go
going to
out there and
say
make stuff.
what? They're going to say they want to be like Tupac. Just the way the guy
No,
said
right
in
there.
that
He says,
interview.
in a sense, he feels suicidal and all that stuff because of with this thug's life. You see,
Well,
with
think
this
about it. Well, then
thug's
why
life.
are you, why, first of all, rap, when it talks about stuff like that, needs to be listened to, but to nobody but the person that writes it. Because that's a personal trauma dumping. So they're dumping trauma. And I know Tupac didn't live that. He didn't live that life, man. He was not a gangster. He was a ballet dancer. So he was not a gangster. Anybody can look up Tupac's history. He was not a gangster. Gangsters don't get into rap. Rappers get into gangsters.
I don't think he ever said he was a gangster. I'm saying he
Oh,
sold crack and stuff.
think about it. The rappers that think they're gangsters, what happened to them? They go to jail. I think, isn't Mystical doing life?
Well, here's the issue. He got with a real gangster, aka Suge Knight. So he signed a contract with one. So that wasn't.
Suge Knight
But the
ain't
thing is,
even really
he
a
had the hookup
gangster.
though.
Suge Knight is not really a gang. If Suge Knight
Man, that
was,
dude's off. I
you
don't know how
know
many
what Suge
people.
Knight
Yeah.
was? A bully. He was a bully. Have you ever seen the video where 170-pound guy, 165-pound guy knocked out Suge Knight on the sidewalk? I mean, matter of fact, I think the guy that knocked him out was the manager to Akon. They had beef, and he caught Suge Knight because the video used to be on YouTube. It might be hard to find, but you know the internet better than me. You can see. I was shocked when I saw this. He hit him, pow, on the jaw, and it staggered him. And when he staggered him, he hit him again, and that laid him on the sidewalk face. It was
I mean,
brutal.
he's not personally a fighter, dude. He's the guy who's
No,
the
but that's the
kingpin
thing. The
dude.
guy that hit him is not a fighter either. You're looking at a little guy. Anybody can get caught
So
off
lucky
guard.
he wasn't strapped, you know.
Well, the thing is, it didn't matter if he was strapped. He was laid out on the pavement, and they beat him up afterwards or something like that because this is the way animals react. instead of acting like a human being. And anybody, I'm sure one of these black podcasts or something, like, oh, you're calling people animals. If you act, I'm saying that the action was animals. You acting like an animal. So maybe if
Hey, look. Here's a quick line here. It says, "Because our block is filled with danger. Used to be a close-knit community, but now we're all strangers. Now we're all cold
you know
strangers."
why it's filled with
Thomas
danger?
Paine, yeah.
All right, let me bring it up. You know why it's filled with danger? Because that same buffoon just said crack sales got him living well. So if he's selling crack on his block, what do you think it's going to be? Not dangerous? He's making it dangerous. He's making it worse. And then
He's
he's
saying at
going
least
to
it
try
used
to
to
sit
be
there.
a closer people. At least were closer before.
He's
Now
going to try to
everybody's like,
sit there and cry the victim. Oh, it's because he's black. It's because he lives here. No, it's because you're selling crack where you live. And then what do? They go sell crack where somebody else lives. And that's when they get popped because them guys ain't having it. They're like, look, man, go where you live. Why are you doing it where we live? Or maybe the guys are already doing it where they live. This is the problem that I don't see people talking about in rap. Why isn't there rappers saying don't sell crack and don't sell it on your block? No, because it seems to be orchestrated to keep people in that type of mindset. I mean, if you just look at Eminem. Eminem is the angry white kid that hates his baby's mother. That's all he's ever, and his own mother.
that's for real. I know exactly. That's
Why,
why
why
it's
would you
just so
want
annoying. It's
people that's
annoying.
white? All right, you
To
know
me,
what
it's
he did?
annoying.
So he did what Tupac did to black kids. Eminem
No, you
did to
can't
white
compare
kids.
that. No.
He influenced white
Okay.
kids.
Here's another line that you're never gonna hear Eminem or anyone else say. He says, "I stop and stare at the younger. My heart goes to them. They tested with the stress that they under. And nowadays things change. Everyone's ashamed of the youth because the truth looks strange. And it's for me, it's reversed. We left them a world that's cursed and it hurts." I mean, that's what's happening today. I mean,
That's the
you
same
see what's going
guy
on.
that's saying crack sales got him living well. So this is when I look at
Yeah,
that.
but he's like a 12-year-old kid or
No,
something. You know, he's
there's
talking about like
well,
when
then
he's
he
like,
shouldn't. A 12-year-old kid should not be holding a microphone. A microphone is more deadlier than a
no,
gun.
he's reminiscing about when he grew up. He's like,
He didn't
man,
grow
this,
up doing that. That's the great crap. Tupac did not grow up doing that crap. He was not a gangster. He was not a crack dealer and
I
all of
never
that.
said that. So selling drugs is not, you don't have to be a
No,
gangster
he
to sell
didn't
drugs,
do
man.
that though. He was in ballet class.
Yep.
You see
You
what I'm
see what I'm
saying? You
saying?
want to go
Five. What I'm
that way?
trying to tell you, I
That's
was on the block.
after.
I was
That's
on the
after.
block. I was next to the crack dealers, and I saw this shit happen.
His own
Many
mom
people,
was a
many
crackhead.
people. It doesn't mean he was a crack dealer, though. So if his mom was a crackhead, right, and he's trying to tell me he's a crack dealer, how much of a buffoon do you have to be to see what destroyed your mom? You're going to go and sell that now to destroy somebody else's mom? I remember brothers on the block used to tell me there was a pregnant girl, a black girl that was 5 months pregnant. And I remember they tried to act like, oh, they don't sell her nothing because she's pregnant. And I told them, I said, well, you sold her the drugs to get her pregnant. You sold her crack up until she was 4 months pregnant. Now you're trying to act like a saint. Get away from me.
No, that's messed up. I mean, he
Look,
knows
this is
better than that.
what, and these black guys, a lot of them became rappers, known rappers. I could drop names, but I don't want to. If I meet people and I get bigger in shows, I'll talk about it. And these guys will be like, oh yeah, I remember. They know me. They know me. I was the guy that was selling books in the hood and they would cross the street. And I said, yeah, if I had nickel bags, they would be trying to rob me. And I remember the guy that owned the barbershop told me, I said, he's like, oh, you got to do something to help people. I said, yeah, well, you didn't buy a book off me.
Okay.
You know me, bro. We'd be friends, but I will pull reality on you in a second. And be like, well, what? Because that's the only way we can be friends. Otherwise, it's a butt kissing contest. And I'm not into that. We're going to challenge each other. We're going to grow as men. And I've said this to brothers on the block. I've had guys pull pieces on me, all type of stuff. But I didn't care because I was already a veteran. When I was on the block at 22 and I was already a U.S. veteran. And I was looking at these guys like, it's like they're still failures. They will always be that way. And what are they aspiring to be? A rapper. Oh my goodness. Why don't you just cover yourself with a manhole in the sewer then? You think about that. Eminem, what black rappers did to the black community, Eminem did to the white community. And Jake saw it because he was an Eminem zombie, and he realized, like, yeah, this guy ain't good. What is a white kid going to turn into listening to Eminem? A guy that doesn't like
No,
the.
we're talking about Tupac here,
No,
man.
no, but
Me
we're
and Eminem
talking about
agree.
all rappers. Okay, you want to
Wait,
keep it on Pac?
can I ask you something, MD, real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, I mean, because I've heard this from other people too, and I'm sure you agree that a lot of these rappers, the big ones, are not straight men. And then you look at the lyrics and how they put down women all the time, degrading women, and then promoting guys leaving their pants down with their underwear hanging out. It's like we're also missing the sus aspect of the whole damn thing. You know what I'm saying? How it's influenced kids. This is like non-straight men influencing young men.
You want to answer that, Scribe? Or?
I mean, I don't even. I mean, again, that whole thing. There's a lot of that, but I don't see any connection there with what we're talking about.
All the put downs of women,
I'm
Scribe?
specifically talking about Tupac right now because he had that picture up there, so that was like a direct aim, you know.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to get you guys to hear some of the lyrics this guy talks about. He's not up there, oh man, I'm cool, I got my Rolex, whatever, and all these girls, whatever. He's not doing all that. He's trying to give you insight. And like this part here, he's saying, doesn't it make you get teary? The world looks dreary. When you wipe your eyes, see it clearly. There's no need to fear me. If you take the time to hear me, maybe you can learn to cheer me. It ain't about black or white because we're human. I hope we see the light before it's ruined. So this dude is literally letting us know, here's what I see, here's what's going on, and I hope I can make a difference before I leave this world. So that was really. There's another part here where he says, I refuse to be a role model. I set goals, take control, drink from my own bottles. I make mistakes, but I learn from everyone. And when it's said and done, I bet this brother be a better one. If I upset you, don't stress. Never forget that God isn't finished with me yet. He says, I feel His hand in my brain. When I write rhymes, I go blind and I let the Lord do His thing. I mean, that's like one of the most crazy. It's almost like he's not doing nothing. He's just letting the thing happen, and he's embracing that, and he's letting
Scribe, is
the
it really
lyrics just
that
come
deep?
out naturally.
I mean, you make it sound like it's Mozart or something. It's not that deep. It's
It's a
just
Mozart with lyrics, but more so of what he's observing. It's not about him getting the best whatever or the best car or the most money, and that's usually the theme of a lot of these gangster rap stuff is that, oh, I got the best whatever and all that. He's not. He's worried about what's going on, and he's able to speak about it from the lowest level, the poorest poverty level, in jail and all that kind of stuff, giving us insight because we never get to really see that stuff unless you grew up that way. Then you got to see more of it, but most people like us don't really see any of that, so we never get any real
But
answers.
I see. The thing is, you're looking from the outside looking in, but MD had to live in that culture, so I think he's got a totally different perspective. So I can understand. The degradation of the way it affects society. From the outside looking in, it's not the same as being inside. You know.
He has, but he hasn't witnessed a guy like this. He needs to go back and look
Uh,
at,
Oh my God.
look at the
yeah,
differences.
I
And
didn't know
yeah,
about
man.
Pac, right? Well, let me tell you something I know about Pac that shadows what you just
But
said.
see, you didn't
No, no,
because you
wait.
wouldn't be saying what you're saying.
All right. Well, the reason I'm saying what I'm saying is because what you just said is totally incorrect. You said, oh, he didn't rap about the money and all of that. Really? Really? So anybody could type in. Did Tupac rap about having money and
There's a
gold?
few songs like that, but it's
Now
gonna be.
you're gonna backpedal, right? Right when I bring out the evidence, now you're gonna. But first, you were saying,
I'm not
well,
saying 100%, but a lot of it
well,
is.
and that's all it needs to be. Then that means, like many hip hop artists of his era, Tupac
You got to
wore
get
gold
paid, right? I
jewelry.
mean,
Oh, don't bring up the picture of the gold jewelry and he's in the bathtub naked, looking mad suspicious. I mean,
oh,
he.
that's the magazine, that's Vogue or whatever doing it, or what's it
Oh
called,
yeah,
the
but
Rolling Stone or whatever.
nothing to do with him posing for the shot, though, right? Again,
No,
exonerating him.
but they always want to do some crazy shot.
All right, check this out. He wore prominent gold ring in his final public appearance, which later sold for over 1 million in an auction, right? When somebody like that is crying about poverty in their neighborhood, but they got the money on their finger to help it, but don't, shows me that they're a hypocrite. Show me they're
Not
never
worth $1 million. It's only because he wore it.
Never to be trusted. Tupac could have had a line of credit. He could have did something good, but why? He seemingly
People come in his house and they destroyed it and they robbed him.
Seemingly was a plant. Look at Tyrese, right? He had a $50,000 diamond necklace, went jet skiing, like, and didn't realize he had it on and lost it. So now you ain't finding it because he's going into the shore of the ocean. And what did he do? He went to the store and bought another $50,000 diamond necklace. So this is the type of money. I mean, these guys got money to do all of this crazy stuff, and then they cry about how their neighborhood is in poverty, and they expect somebody else to pull it out of poverty. Meanwhile, the music that they're making is influencing their own youth, the one that they act like they care about, the black youth, influencing them to sell drugs, to commit violence against each other, and to never do anything productive with their life. If somebody says they're striving to be a rapper, that is not something productive. You're adding to the fuel to the fire. And if somebody said, forget about if somebody says this and they don't look the part, because they're going to immediately, you'll see the racism come out. When I see people complain about white racism, which is a serious problem in America and the world, I mean, it's a plague, they forget to talk about black racism.
I mean, listen to this. This is crazy. I'm not saying obviously he did this, but he's talking about it. You know, he's witnessing stuff where in the change says, "I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and ask myself, is life worth living, or should I blast myself? I'm tired of being poor, or even worse, I'm
Why
black.
would you?
My
Why
stomach
would you
hurts.
put that in the
My
song?
stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch." So he's just
So,
giving you a
so why
perspective
would
of
you?
someone.
So you're telling me that's not going to influence kids that are going
No,
through
man,
stuff
he's
that's
talking
worse
about
than him?
he's going into a mind of someone who's in the situation
Look,
to where
what
they're
you're not
literally
seeing
at
is
the worst of the worst,
this is what
and
you're
they're
not seeing for most
contemplating
black
life.
kids. No, let me show you how Tupac was more privileged. Tupac at least knew who
Like
his
he's
mother.
telling you what that guy who snatched that purse right there, why he did that. He's telling you
No,
why.
there ain't no why he did that. Yeah, listening to Tupac songs, that's why he did that. That's why he snatched the purse, because he listening
Holy
to Tupac.
crap, dude. You
Think
see what I'm
about it.
saying?
If
He's trying
Tupac
to give
is
you a
talking about
perspective,
the
and that's
way,
how you take it.
it's not how I take it. If he's singing about, oh, it's going to push him to that, don't you see the subliminal programming in that? Because other kids are going to be like, they're like Pac. What did that kid say on that show? Oh, I think sometimes, people might think it's stupid, but I think, what would Tupac do? How much of a brain dead zombie do you got to be when you have a decision to make in life and you think about what Tupac would do? What type of, the mental, that's like embarrassing.
Probably has it written down somewhere, and you can go and read it and be like, "Oh,
Oh,
damn,
smokes,
that's
man.
deep."
There's, you are on a level of Tupacism or whatever. I mean, I don't even know what to call it, man.
But he's looking on the outside in, MD. He didn't live your life. Well, you saw how this music affected the people. You had to be around it. You know what I mean? I don't think so. Think
It
that way.
destroyed us. It
You wouldn't think
destroyed
that.
us.
Yeah.
If I would have never listened to rap, I think I would have been a better person. And people can, hopefully they clip that. And if I get bigger on other shows and, oh, you said this? Yeah, I said that, and I'll say it again.
No,
Because that's another thing I noticed with a lot of these rap communities. They try to intimidate you. They act like, oh, they want a dialogue. They don't want a dialogue. They want to bully you. They want to intimidate you.
But the second that song comes on, you're gonna be,
I'm gonna be like, I don't listen
into
to Tupac. That's what I'm gonna be like. I'm gonna
be
be
singing
like,
just like you were earlier
I don't
to
listen
the
to
beat.
rap anymore. I don't, even if people play some rock songs I like, I don't want to hear it because I understand the tunes, the rhythms, the guitar, the bass, all of that is meant to program me. And when it puts me in a certain mood, then the lyrics hit and they go deep into a part of your mind that you don't know how to control, the subliminal mind, the subconscious.
So you listen to good music that that gives you good
That's not
thoughts.
music. Tupac, rap and rock and pop, that's not music. Those are mental programming, in my opinion. Those are mental programming. And I've got, and that's the funniest thing, because with Chris Rock, when I mentioned this to some people in the hood, they got mad at me. I remember a few guys were like, they started like, one guy put me on speakerphone. He was like, "Oh, I never thought I hit." I'm like, look, first of all, if you don't like it, take a number and stand in line. I say, because I ain't no strangers to getting into fights. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and be bullied the way they try to bully people coming into the community. And I really don't like that. I really don't like that. And this is something that I think a lot of people in America are getting tired of. They see it in the behavior in all of these establishments. Somebody gets off the handle. Well, I don't see that much in New York. Because in New York, maybe they play a different game. Maybe they wait till you walk outside and set it on you. I'm like, listen, man, I was trying to eat. I don't need to hear your stuff. I don't care what happened to you. When I sit down to eat, if I even hear your voice, I'm going to let you know what's going to happen. New York works a little different, just like LA works different from New York. When I see these crazy videos of people going nuts, right? And I'm not saying it's all black people. Anybody can pull up videos of white people and Spanish people doing crazy stuff. The majority that they showing, that they feeding the people, might be black. But they also show black people in these places flipping on other black people.
Exactly.
And they don't like to talk, because remember, they're trying to set people against each other. And rap does that perfectly. I mean, think about it. Look at the white guys in rap today. Don't you? And I thought about this today before the stream, because I was thinking of putting Eminem's picture when I told you, and you said, yeah, that wouldn't be good, because you put Pac in such high regards that you don't think, okay, great, I respect that, fine. But the two pictures I did put with Tekashi and Riff Raff, when you look at those pictures, that's like a created like persona. That's like a mask that they put on. They're like, all right, let them put on the fake grill, the chain. They got the tattoos, the hair dyed in cornrows or whatever. I mean, it's so buffoonish. I mean, how do you expect anybody to take you serious as a human being when you're walking around like that, with your pants sagging? And when black mothers try to tell them, look, our children are following you, could you do a better example? He's like, nah, they gonna wear this stuff like me. Blah, 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 blah. I look at Tupac, and it's an embarrassment, man. He's literally an embarrassment. And I don't want to say too much on him, because the guy's past whatever.
Okay.
But when
Listen, so again, you're saying embarrassment, and here he says, and the only time we chill, again, is a quote, so I consider the words. The only time we chill is when we kill each other. It takes time to be real, time to heal each other. So he's like, it's time we got to change into that. Instead of the whole division and going at each other's throats, we got to be real and heal each other. I mean, you don't be saying these type of things if you're trying to.
And then his next song is Hit 'Em Up, right? His next song is Hit 'Em Up. After that, so all of that
he
stuff,
gets shot, and then he gets betrayed by his best friend. It's almost like you think the guy had no life or something. It's like he's writing from his experience. He's not just making up stuff just to sound cool.
He did not live a gangster life, according to a lot of people.
Really? I mean, I don't know how many times this dude got shot, but
why would they name him after a Peruvian revolutionary, Tupac Amaru Shakur? Why would they name a guy?
His parents were Black Panther, man.
No, his parents, we're not even sure who his parents was, but we know one thing, that if you look up Tupac, his name is Lassane Crooks. Why would you change your name? Again, that's the creator.
I think the father did that, and then the mother changed it when he was one.
No, but why? That whole thing is creating the image of the character called Tupac.
Yep, exactly.
No, his official name, his mom changed it when he was like 1 year old.
That's not his name. He was born Lassane Crooks. Now, you can change it, do whatever you want. That's not your birth name. So from the get, and remember, the Black Panthers weren't, I know a lady that used to pass out. She's like in almost 70. She used to pass out flyers for the Black Panthers when she was 12 or 13 back in Manhattan. She used to live on 125th Street. I still know her today. I didn't know her back then, But she told me, she goes, when she saw the feds come down on them, these brothers were selling each other out at the drop of a dime. All this black unity and all of that stuff. Nobody wanted to go away. And it was a lot of drugs in there too. When you look at the whole Huey Newton thing, there was heroin. That was and I can admit that, yeah, maybe some people are like, oh, well, the government did that. Okay, that could be true. We do see that happening. We saw the crack era. We saw the opiate era. You know, we definitely saw that. So yeah, okay, they used that. We saw the opium wars with the British fighting China to be able to bring opium so they could string out the aristocracy. I mean, drugs are an effective way to control a population. Part of me says, if you look at history, it might be the only way to really fully do that. Like, they will come for you with the liquor bottle. They will come for you with the music. They'll come for you with the drugs.
Oh, look, here's a direct thing. Even though it's a song changes, he's basically letting them know that I'm coming for you. So he's saying, and I still see no changes. Can a brother get a little peace? It's a war in the streets and it's a war in the Middle East. Instead of a way of poverty, they got a war on drugs, so the police can bother me, and ain't never did a crime I didn't have to do. But now back with the Glocks, giving it back to you. So that means he wants some type of.
Again, it shows you that he's
it sounds like revenge, but I think it's like a message.
Sounds like he's a liar. And the reason I say that, it's not just to say it, is because you just told me he said that crack sales got him doing well. So when he says the police are bothering him for not doing well, he's a crack dealer. Of course the police gonna bother him, but then he's gonna lie over here and say, well, oh, the police bother me because there's a war on pop. No, they're bothering you because you're a crack dealer. That's why you just said it in your previous song. And now you're going to have me over here trying to think like, oh, Tupac is good. No, Tupac, he's saying he's a crack dealer, man. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support.
Good.
Alexis, thank you for the support, brother. Alexis says, I thought Jesse Ventura was awakened due to him speaking out against 9/11. However, he endorsed and pushed for Kamala Harris in 2024. Oh my God. He's just a puppet. Absolutely. Yep. I didn't know that, man. Thank you for, I mean, I would have said he was a puppet, but the fact that he pushed for Kamala, oh my goodness. He's a pure puppet. And I just, a video popped up with him trying to be like, he was trying to like say, it said he's ripping into Trump, telling him about ICE or something like that. Yeah, he's a straight puppet, man. Alexis, brother, thank you, bro. Yeah, thank you for bringing that to my attention too, man. This is, wow, he endorsed Kamala. These guys are so puppet, man. So puppet. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not even gonna say it because I know Scribe. I know Tupac. You have an affinity for him. I know it. But yeah, Alexis, brother, this is, thank you, man. This is, wow. He endorsed, and
I don't think in his case it was a vote per se, because he obviously knows the whole thing. I mean, he knows the puppets.
Nah, you a puppet.
I think it was more of a division, like if there was something he could do, or playing part of a role, or they told him, look, you better play along or else, because when he did the conspiracy show, I mean, they shut him down like a couple years after when he got to,
I think a lot of it is orchestrated, man.
He got Joe Rogan, like he had a flip.
Joe Rogan is a puppet. I mean, Alexis is right. He's just a puppet, bro. Just and honestly, Brian, anybody is better than the current governor of Minnesota. When you look at Tim Walz, that's the guy that they wanted to run with Kamala. I mean, how much of a joke is that? How much is a joke? I mean, didn't the Democrats have Eminem making a rap against Trump or something like that? Like the first term or something like that? I don't know if you know anything about that. No? Or yeah?
No, I don't know. I don't know if he did.
I mean, the amount of influence that I see that Tupac had, I have to admit, I need to take that into consideration, not because, he might be right or something. It's because of the mind controlling effect that he had on more than just a generation. I mean, look at,
It's more like watching a movie and the guy knows he's gonna get taken out, but then he does something before they do it, you know.
as if
So
it was
it's on.
orchestrated, as if it was planned. Alexis, brother, thank you
No,
for
that's like saying I'll drop the grenade when I go down, and wherever that happens. Go ahead.
I mean, Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Alexis says Tim Walsh is an Army vet. Honest thoughts on him, MD. And I, you know, with and this is the thing about a lot of these politicians that say they're veterans. Usually, they're pencil pushers. And Walsh, like I've said it before, I don't trust any politician. There is none unless I know that person personally. And you already know stuff is not going to go totally by the law, but you know that, okay, this is the way it works. If I know the person, what does the president do when he gets into office and he leaves? He pardons people. The whole country is built on crime. So, and that's another thing. If we're honest with ourselves, and I'm not saying anything bad, I'm saying, look, this is how it works. It was built on corruption. It was built on rebellion. It was built on murder and lies. And that's just what it is. I don't know why MD don't talk about Rogan. Is Rogan good or something? I don't know why. I mean, I don't think Rogan. I think Rogan is just another. I mean, when he flipped on the moon, that's what showed me, like, bro, come on. Lieutenant Trans, my brother, Lieutenant Trans says Tim Walsh was in the National Guard the whole time and never deployed. Holy smoke. In fact, he dodged deployment in 2001 and was hated by his uniform. Lieutenant Trans, brother, thank you for that. Because I had a feeling I was going to say all these politicians, it always ends up that they were pencil pushing or something. They never really, And Lieutenant Trans says, imagine being in the National Guard and you're too scared to deploy to a combat hole. You're so right, bro. And I thought National Guard are limited to the state. I thought they were limited to the state. Yeah. Wow. So Tim Walsh is just a straight up sucker. Holy smokes. Brian, man, I can't even believe you said that, man. Out of all the stuff that you're woke, I cannot believe you said that. The Rogan zombie bitch. Yeah, Alexis is right. Yeah, come on, man. Rogan, Brian, come on. Hey, Rogan has some guests, Graham Hancock and stuff. I like to listen to them, but he is a zombie. Yeah, he's totally. I mean, I can't trust that guy. I didn't mean to cut you off, Scribe, but if you had anything about Tupac, I mean, I hear where you're coming from, man. I hear where you're coming from. I just, let me type in what was negative about Tupac. Let me see if it says anything. All right. Tupac Shakur's negative aspect, including being associated with violent lyrics and thug life. Oh my goodness, look at that. Bro, this is what I've been telling you. Facing legal issues and gang entanglement, struggling with sexism and embodying excess. Excess, we know, the gold chains, the bling, the stuff that they should be trying. What? Pride comes what? Before the fall. Conflicting with his political, again, conflicting. So all of this stuff, the gang engagements, the crack dealing, the sexism, the excess, conflicting with his political activism against police brutality and for Black empowerment. And again, why isn't it just empowerment? See, people forget the Panthers, it wasn't anything of power of a color. It was power to the people. And then that got distorted into B power, Chicano power, all this, a yellow power. You see the signs. Anybody can look them up on the internet. You don't want that. You don't want to go down that road. It's power to the people. And honestly, when you think about that statement, it will never be power to the people. Because you just try to talk to the average zombie in society, they're the first person that'll turn you in. All these movies try to tell us that. The first person that will turn you in is that zombie in society that you're trying to help. So, and this is to go back to Tupac with the lyrics. right? So the fact that he created a complex legacy where his controversial lifestyle often overshadowed his progressive ideals and artistic depth. So, what is that saying? His controversial lifestyle often overshadowed his progressive ideals and artistic depth. That, let me tell it to you in simple terms. He didn't walk it like he talked it. So he was talking crap about progressive ideals and artistic depth, but yet had the controversial lifestyle that overshadowed that. How is somebody not to be confused? Wow, Scribe jumped off. Holy smokes. I was reading that from another screen. Alexis says, MD, how do I avoid the news? I keep getting Trump garbage pushed into my internet feed and YouTube. I ignore and block them, and more garbage, Trump news comes up. What I do is there's 3 buttons on the side when the videos pop up on that grid on the main YouTube homepage. And I think it gives you the option to say not interested. And it might say why. I don't answer the why, but I just say not interested. So that's all I know, because even though it keeps popping up, I just ignore. I just scroll down, and I kind of tried not to look at too much because I got to get the book editing ready. But yeah, I would say the 3 buttons to say not interested, because if you click those 3 buttons on the top right of every video, every thumbnail, it'll give you that option. So I don't know if you've tried that, but yeah, that could Alexis agreed, Alexis. Why is Trump slop always in the news? I don't care about oversized puppet, but he keeps popping up, man. I was almost going to do the stream tonight on that. I think his internet was messing up, so that's why he probably jumped off. But yeah, it's Mr. X. Yeah,
no, I'm just back. I had to take a little break. But yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to go hard on him. I'm just showing him that if anybody even types in what was negative about Tupac, it pops up. It pops up, man.
But I understand your passion too, MD, because you had to live it.
Oh man, what the crazy thing was, Mr. X, I don't remember Tupac being big. The big thing in the 90s was Wu-Tang. And they
I'm sure. Yeah, Tupac probably wasn't that big, and I'm guessing in the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Nobody in New York really cared for him because I think maybe part of them looked at him as a traitor or something. He moved to LA or something, but also they had Biggie Smalls, which the notorious B.I.G. with Puffy. The problem with him was they got a statue. I don't know if it's still there in Brooklyn. I mean, why? They had a statue in downtown Brooklyn of George Floyd. And I think they moved it to Manhattan. Why would you even have a statue of that? And I try to tell people, and they don't understand. I said, why would you want a statue of a Black person that was killed? And not just killed, but killed violently. Mm-hmm. Floyd, Biggie, Tupac. Why don't you have a statue of somebody like George Washington Carver, who was one of the greatest inventors in the world that was from America? A man from America. And I won't even say a Black man, because it takes away from him just being a man, because that's what he's, a man. He's to be respected as a man, one of the greatest inventors. They could put that in Brooklyn. They could put Benjamin Banneker, the guy who created the street light, a Black inventor. They could also put white inventors to try to get kids in Brooklyn not to, to just hate people, to say, look, there's many other people that are, all different ethnicities that are good. I mean, Brooklyn is I don't even know what to say, man. I was born in Brooklyn, but I do not really, maybe because I don't go to the nice areas, but even my friend's dispensary, I don't feel safe there. He's a cool guy. He's a good guy. I've known him for over 30 years, but he knows, and he's hood, and he's not Black. He's actually a white guy. Mm-hmm. And he's hood. Scribe knows him. He talked, because he built a site. He's so hood. I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with him about rap. He'd be like, "Oh, you crazy?" He loves rap. I mean, I think he was playing something in the dispensary the other month I was there with C Murder. I'm like, what? I was like, is that the name of this C Murder? I was like, what are you, nuts, man? I can't say that because we've known each other for so long. He's like, look, bro, just, he ain't trying to listen to me. But
Can I
yeah.
mention something?
Mhm.
Because I think the best way to look at this is you gotta step back and see the big picture. You know what I'm saying? See why are things the way they are? Why are these type of people promoted? Why is this degeneracy promoted in our culture? And the way to look at it, that I can break it down real simply. There's Group A and there's Group B, let's just say. And let's just say Group A wants to get very wealthy. They want to accumulate as much wealth as possible. Well, the first part of that is they got to keep all the money in their community. Group A it can't leave Group A. It has to circle within their community. But it'll be the same amount of money, so it's not going to really grow. The only way it can grow for Group A is to take from Group B. They have to take the money out of Group B and send it over to Group A so that money will stay in Group A, because remember, they won't allow the money to leave that area of Group A. It'll stay. Once it gets there, it stays and it circulates.
Mhm.
But because they're taking from B, it can grow. So that
Mhm.
money pool in Group A can grow larger and larger and larger. And the only way Group A can ever take that money out of Group B is Group B has to be dysfunctional. It can't be united. It has to be completely chaotic, making no sense, encouraging degeneracy, encouraging the breakup of the family. Group B has to be really destroyed, mentally and psychologically, all around. And
Mhm.
that's the only way Group A can control Group B.
Mhm.
And I think that's what it all comes down to in the end. That's
Yeah.
why things are the way they are with certain groups and other groups.
Control.
Yeah.
The control of the human organism, man. Sam says, MD, any thoughts on Eckhart Tolle? I actually had his book. I had gave it to a friend, The Power of Now, and I didn't get to read the whole thing because my friend wanted it, and he was so. I mean, the way he asked me, I was like, you know what, man, here, it's yours. Um, I don't know too much about Tolle. Eckhart Tolle, he reminds me of The Hobbit for some reason. I don't know why, but he just does. But he seems, from what I've heard on video, he seems very aware. I don't know, but I would like to. Yeah, I have to look into that because Toll, I heard, is pretty deep. I don't know if you have any more stuff on him, Sam. Please let me know. No, I haven't tried crispy pizza. I don't even know what crispy pizza
I
is.
have no clue.
Yeah, never. Yeah, just I'm constantly getting Trump trash in my feed. This is the third person that said that. And you keep saying you're not interested in YouTube. Wow. Thanks, Lee. This is because we were just talking about it earlier. How do we stop all of this Trump stuff getting in the feed, like Alexis was saying, and even me, I see it. It was so bad. Yeah. I recommended it basic philosophy. I recommend it basic philosophy is living in the now, not reminiscing of the past or future, as the past causes regret and the future causes anxiety. I can't totally agree with that um, because the past to me, I don't know. Let me look up the word nostalgia just to make sure. Nostalgia, because just to make sure I have it right. Um, Nostalgia. So a longing, a sentimental longing, a wishful affection of the past, a period or place with happy personal association. So that's one. Because if you're saying it causes regret, I wouldn't say. I've heard a saying that says regret is the only sin. That's it. Regret is the only sin. So don't regret anything. It happens for a reason. There's no takebacks in life. I would say that the past gives me comfort. I go back to the past every day in my mind and I spend time there and I love it and I reminisce, and it teaches me what I have now in the present teaches me that if I could go back to the past, I would love more. I would be a more loving and caring person. And it's not to say that I didn't love or care. It's saying that I would do it more. I would really, when I look back at the past. So I don't think it's regret. And the future is not really anxiety. See, that's a tough one. Sometimes I can feel anxious, but the future, as you know, with my own theory of time, I think everybody should have their own theories and see if they converge or we can link them up and maybe learn from each other. I think the future is already there, and that's what's creating the present. Just the way the present right now is creating the past. Now, I could be wrong, but this is the way I feel about the future. So it doesn't cause me an anxiety with the future. What the future tells me is that I'm going to be there. I also thought that maybe when we pass forward into the next. What if when we think people die, we thinking they just stop? What if they go forward into the future? That's something we don't think of. So nostalgia, I love nostalgia in a way. And it can be kind of stagnating at points, but when I look back at some of the videos on YouTube for ads from the 70s and 80s, and I look at them and I say, wow, man, that was it reminds me again, it was such a beautiful song, time. It reminds me of that song that it was a song before they used it in a rap record, but I first heard it in a rap record from Wu-Tang. Can it be that it was all so simple then? And it really looks back and I look at the simplicity and I say, wow, it was just beautiful. The sentiment and longing, the nostalgia, a personal experience of the past. So yeah, I don't yeah. Lieutenant Trans says, yeah, Lieutenant Trans is also getting a lot of Trump news. And YouTube knows, yeah, it knows I'm not interested in it. I almost yeah, 1975 was greater than 2025. Yes, you might be right on that, bro. 50 years ago was, yeah, you might be right on that, man. I'll tell you one thing, 1985, even though it was tough during inflation, 1995 was dope. I have to admit that. I like 90. I was already in my 20s. I was good. 1995 the 90s were just great in a way. Mr. X, yes, huh?
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah, the 90s, I love the 90s. I mean, I didn't really think it was so great when it was the 90s, but now that I look back at it, I'm like, man, that was the time, bro. That was the 90s. There was money everywhere. People would refuse jobs because they could choose the job they wanted. There were so many employment opportunities. I had just got out the army. I was free. I felt like I was free, but free to do what? It was kind of like Conan when they release him and he already did his fights and he doesn't know what to do. So he's basically running from wild wolves until he finds the Atlantean sword, and then I guess I think he meets with his friend, the Asian dude that he frees, and then he meets the girl, the love of his life. I forgot, Valeria, I think her name was. Conan, the first one, was kind of it was pretty deep. I heard there's parts on the internet that De Laurentiis left out because it was so dark. I mean, it had the real Conan, the books and stuff like that, deep. I mean, deep. Yeah, it was definitely Conan. I think about some of the stuff from that movie, and it really makes me wonder, because like when he was freed, Sam says, I get you, MD. I love the past too, but raw thought, should we reminisce on the past? Nostalgia can be like a drug that soothes us from the present. I mean, I think reminiscing on it makes me a better person today, because every time I reminisce about the past and I appreciate the present, I feel like it makes me a better person. It makes me more understanding. I get to a point to where there's no sense to argue with people anymore. It's like, even sometimes when I have an opinion or a thought, I know that I'm mature enough now to know that this person isn't worthy of sharing the thought with or even talking with them. Most people, it's better not to even say a word to them.
I agree.
Yeah, it just, and that's what I think, reflection, because our experience, some people would say, oh, experience, we learn through experience. I don't think, when I think about it, I don't think that's true, because It's the experience, but reflecting upon the experience as well. So to say, okay, I went through that, and now what can I learn from that experience? So as I think and I go back, yeah, I can get angry and I could be like, man, this person, um, you know, it just, you don't want revenge, because what do they say? If you want revenge, dig two graves, right? One for him and one for you. So you don't want that. Brian says, we all believed everybody was equal. What they demonize today as colorblind society, good vibes then. Yeah, man, they had stuff. I mean, I know you remember, because you're a little older than us, Brian, that I showed it to Scribe one time. He couldn't believe it. I said, look at the cover of Richard Pryor's albums, Bicentennial N, Super N, and he was saying it with the hard R on the cover of these albums. And this was in the 70s. They would say that on TV shows like the Jeffersons. I don't think I heard it on Good Times, but definitely Jeffersons. It was, you got to be able to have a dialogue. If you can have a dialogue, and I'm not even sure if we believed everybody was equal back then, but we were okay with being different. That was the amazing thing. Saying, look, man, and that whole equality thing, it's like, wait a minute. This guy's 5'7", I'm 6'1". There ain't no equality with that. We're different, and that's it. It's cool. He looks like this, I look like this. And that's okay. So I think we were more comfortable in being ourselves back then too. And that made it a lot better too. It was sort of like, you can be yourself. You don't have to try to fit into a mold to please somebody else. And that mold, I mean, they have mass produced that. This thing is so unnatural, what we've moved into in the last 25 years. And that's just this millennia. I can't even believe that we're 25 years into the new millennia. I mean, this is like, I'm amazed at it. I'm like, wow, I got to live part of my life in the previous millennia and more of it here. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Alexis says, I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Ronald Reagan. Holy smokes. Wow. For Reagan to say that, wow, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. This is amazing, bro. This is Reagan. He also said something about if we had an external force that was against us, like aliens, how we might quickly all forget our differences and come together. But Reagan, and it figures Reagan, they got rid of him real early. Could have been the George Bush thing. Wow, that's a deep quote, man. Thank you for that, man. I'm here. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. That's some terrifying. Holy smokes, man. Yeah, hype pill reaching brutal levels. Yeah, now, yeah, the flying cars. Honestly, bro, the flying cars are here. Like I've looked up some videos. They got some single flyers. Amazing. But I hear what you're saying as far as commercially. Why don't we have highways that have these flying cars? And this is what shows me that it really points toward something or other beings or different humans that live much longer than us. Don't worry, man. In 50 years, there won't be highways anymore. It'll all be flying cars. It'll be straight Minority Report. If anything.
And they fly themselves too. I saw it last night, the flying car.
Exactly. So I think the reason we're not seeing it is because even though we don't think that we're in the ghetto, some of us, we're all in the ghetto. The majority of America is one big ghetto. The majority of the world is probably a big ghetto. And there's small pockets of people that have these towns where they use the flying cars, where they have the tables like in the movie Elysium, where you lay down on the table, it scans you, fix anything wrong with you that's genetic. I mean, we see it. It's in our face right now with physical surgery. Why wouldn't it already be applied to machines? If they're printing out genetic code and stuff, like I think one guy had a thing with genetics where he can print out like a kidney or something. I'm not sure, but I have to look it up. And this was a while ago. He had patented, you know, it just yeah, I thought we'd be living like the Jetsons too, man. I really, as a kid, you would see the future look like this great world of tomorrow. And then once the 90s hit, like the mid 90s, it started hitting more to where the movies weren't that great technological utopia. It turned into a dystopia, like a destroyed. I would say it's up there with They Live and The Matrix, man. The Black Pill movie, The Sim Side of the Force. Yeah, there's definitely yeah, man. I really the Jetson thing, man. You know, and that's a nostalgia. I never really watched the Jetsons a lot, but I did, you know, watch them a little. I was a Bugs Bunny kid. I mean, till this day, I have friends. My sister, she tells me, she goes, "You like Bugs Bunny?" He was born in Brooklyn, I think. I just grew up with Bugs. Bugs was that smart aleck rabbit that those cartoons had learning lessons in them. Like it was funny, but they were really learning. It was like you know, it just Bugs Bunny. When I look back, like at the one with the opera singer, and he's playing the banjo, Bugs Bunny, and the opera singer's trying to concentrate on his opera, and Bugs Bunny's like, "Look, man, I'm just playing my banjo." He takes the banjo, breaks it. So Bugs is like, "All right, that's the way you want to be." And then the guy goes to sing his opera at a hall, and Bugs Bunny takes the part of Leopold, I guess the great conductor or something like that. And I mean, it's funny. It's almost Twilight Zone-y the way they get back at the bad guys or something. D4 says, MD thoughts on fasting. Been fasting like crazy. I feel so much better. I heard fasting can heal the body. I have heard that. I fasted for like a day and a half and I was messed up, man. I mean, I felt okay, but I had to recover for that day and a half because I was such a drug food zombie. You know, even though the bread is not a hard drug, but it's still a drug. But I did go like at 6 p.m. I went till the next day, 6 p.m, and then didn't eat until the next morning. So it went 24 hours into like, it went to like around 40 hours, 38, 40 hours. I think it helped me, but I did binge after that. I did binge. So that was but I heard it, man. Scribe knows about the fasting a lot. The fasting really has a lot to do with cleansing the body, man. Honestly, this is a tough one, man. Between They Live and The Matrix, yeah, that's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. The Matrix is yeah, the blood sugar drop, yeah. No, that without a doubt. I noticed I didn't feel it really. What I felt was I felt like not a hangover, but there was some type of weird feeling. And it might have been the body cleansing. It might, I think in some way, it might be my body telling me like, look, you need to get a couple of more things straight before you can fast like this. Mr. X, you had something? No, I didn't know.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, but the fasting, I would say, you know, you have to really be ready to do that, because that's you have to be very careful. Lieutenant Tran says, after researching the agents in the Matrix from these streams, the Matrix is definitely the #1 Black Pill movie. You know something, Lieutenant Trans? You just changed my opinion on that. You're right. The #1 Black Pill movie between They Live on the Matrix, it's the Matrix. Yeah, Lieutenant Trans, you brought that to light, man. Yeah, and the pill, it does come from the Matrix, so it's #1. Yeah. The fact the agents are all white and have slave owner names showcases how in depth they really are. Bro, I was gonna do a stream on this, man, and I'll say it now, but I had the thumbnail and everything ready. Like I was gonna call it was the Matrix of Plantation. When I looked up Agent Smith, Brown, and Jones, those are the three agents from the first one. All of those are prominent slave home or slave owners, slave holders, and plantation owners, right? Then in the next one, they introduce agents Thompson, Jackson, and Johnson. Again, all three of those names, when I looked them up, prominent plantation owners and slave owners. Then they have some from the video game, and the video game even talks about that, like Pace and White, and there were like two other names, same thing. And I said, I think Alexis had brought it to light. He said, The Matrix is the most Black Pill movie ever. I mean, it's so BP'd, man. You're so right. It's the number one, man. And the pill analogy does come. Matter of fact, the pill analogy comes from that. I mean, I wrote the book, The Black Pill, because that tells how it was the red and blue pill. Then guys tried to mix it and make the purple pill. And all three of those got so infiltrated by the blue pill that it ends up to where the black pill had to be created. Because if it wasn't for that, then all of the pills would have been looked at as just fraudulent. But the black pill, which a lot of people do mistaken with doomerism, because once somebody really sees the truth, you're not going to be the same if you're aware. And Alexis had brought this to my attention, and he's so true. You're so right about this. Agent Smith is easily the most black-pilled character ever as well. Ever, bro. Ever, man. You're so right, Alexis. But Agent Smith, you open my eyes to that, man, on another level, man. MD Nightmare on Sperm Street is one of the most brutal pieces of literature. Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. When I wrote Nightmare on Sperm Street, and it's embarrassing for me to say this, bro. I have not sold 100 copies of Nightmare on Sperm Street. I think I sold about 80 copies over since 2022. So 4 years. It's just I almost got to the point where I was giving up on writing, just saying, you know what, man, I'm just gonna just work a menial thing and that's it. I mean, I'm lucky if I got 20, maybe 30 years left, if that. I mean, hopefully it'll happen before then. But thank you, man. I really appreciated that, man. I really do. It had me to where the Human Origin book, that's why I'm working on it so diligently, because I'm like, I got to finish this, man. I said, any day, who knows what can happen? I could go outside, anything can happen. So it's like, and it's been hard these last few days working on it, because I've been like having to do so many things. We got to live and just, make sure you got enough food and everything. So it's like, yeah, man, I mean, I'm so shocked that these books, I mean, the 48 Laws of Dayton sold a good few copies. Not a lot, but, it sold a couple of hundred. The Black Pill, too, a couple of hundred. But Sperm Street and the Dating Circus, man, yeah, I didn't even sell like 50 copies of that, man. Maybe 30 if I'm lucky. Secret Words and Spellcaster, again, even though it's a different genre, I feel more comfortable writing with these. They didn't sell a lot either. They might have like 2 reviews, maybe 3 reviews. I think the Human Origins one, with the stuff that I've been like uncovering from the research, it's just it's a type of book that'll have people saying, wait a minute, you're saying, well, we're from where? And I'm like, well, I'm not saying it. I'm saying the genetic code and what we see with life on Earth is pointing in this direction. And when it points us in this direction of seeing, okay, this is where all the different human beings had to have spawned from, to be created from, that's where the evidence is pointing toward. Now, I can speculate on how possibly we were created through science and genetics to say, well, this is not going to happen by chance, because if we try to do this in a laboratory, it's not going to happen. And then we the thing is that the good thing that, thank goodness, I'm very well versed in science with how to show the deficiencies of the theory, or basically the religion of evolution. Because for everything I present, I got to say, okay, they're telling us this, but this is not the truth. We're seeing that it goes much further, especially now with future sciences that we have with different testing methods. Anybody can look up a video on the laws of stratification. That throws the dating method on its head. It's like it shows us how much we really don't know. So, and yeah, nothing happens by chance. Nothing. This, what we're in, this evidential based reality, this existence. Because remember, the one thing I talk about is the genetic physical being that we're in. So how did our genetics come about? Why do we look different? What could have triggered that? So I get really deep into that. And I say, okay, this led me to look here, and it led me to look here. It led me to speak with this author, this scientist, and this is what I got from it. Then that's the physical. Then we say, well, what is the conscious part of us? And that's where we can speculate. And then the environment that we live in. Well, what is this environment? This environment seems very, very artificial, even though they call it natural. When we look at it, the fabric of existence, it's like something is very odd about this. Something is extremely odd about the fabric of existence. Dawkins was a race realist, but no one in academia talks about that. Wow, I didn't know that. Like, what do you mean by race realist? Let me look that up. Race realist. Is that, let me see. A term used that describes race as biologically distinct, real divisions. Yeah, this is where he just, wow. So he's like straight, almost eugenics. Oh my goodness. So Dawkins was kind of, I wouldn't put it past him, man. I wouldn't put it past him, Neil Tyson, or Michio Kaku, man. These guys get paid to push that agenda. When they really see, and this is, I'm excited to let out the research that I've done, because I mean, I like doing this. And this is where I know that, okay, sometimes you say to yourself, as a writer, if nobody buys this book, will I still write it? And this book, yes, I need to write this, because even if people read it, me personally, the book is really written to say, okay, I finally got this out. It's something that maybe it's part of my purpose for being here in some way, to say, look, this is where the evidence is pointing, and whether we like it or not, this is what it says. And now we can go forward from this point, and we can say, okay, now we're beginning where we're at. We don't know, and let's start from there. That's the only place we can start. Jake the Church Zombie says, I don't see people, I see codes. Yep, Agent Smith. Agent Smith, man. That is so true. But yeah, man, this has been a good one. I think Scribe's internet might have something, or maybe he got busy or something like that. But that's cool. It's no biggie. But it was a pleasure, man. You guys in the chat, I really appreciate everything, man. The conversation, the learning, Mr. X. Yeah,
Hey,
man.
have a good, great show. Another classic.
Yeah, this was a good one, man. And appreciate all the input. We made a little progress on this one. I think Scribe's internet, yeah, because he said he was having spotty internet earlier. But I think tomorrow or tonight, basically, I'll be doing. I was thinking, now that everybody says the Trump stuff popped up in their feed, because it pops up in mine too. Yeah, I guess I won't do a show on that. I'll think of a better idea. If anybody has a great idea, they can leave it in the comments on the video. And yeah, man. Yeah, you guys take care, man, and have a great night. We'll talk again soon.
Have a good night.